What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Healthy Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
We're back. Wait, whoa. What was that? We're back.
Yeah, I was just moving my mic.
That was not you.
Can you hear me?
Mike, I'll tell you that right now. I will tell you that right now. That was not the noise I heard. Guys, pull up a stool and pour a glass. You're here for the very first episode. That's right. This is Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show because we cannot figure it out. We refuse to move on until we've got it all sorted out. Our pledge and our oath. We will remain on episode 1. We started at the bottom, and here we remain. Guys, I am at Ref Marsh. We have a special guest today because my cohorts suck again. But it's all right. This is a big one. First episode 1, guest host. How does that even happen, right? On the first. What do you think about it? Bishop from Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast is here. Bishop, today, say hi.
Hi.
There he goes. He did it.
No, thanks for having me. Although it's not the maiden voyage, I am very happy to be on episode 1.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if we make it to episode 2, I mean, this could be like a legit episode 1.
It's very possible.
The other guest hosts on the other episode 1s will be pissed.
What you need is a spin-off show that you can have episodes 1 and 2.
Well, actually,
or your spin-off show is another round, episode 2.
Well, I mean, Thursday Night Chaser was meant to be a spin-off show, but that one's just as big as a failure, to be honest. So it remains episode 1 there as well. But if you go to our YouTube, if you go to WrestlingOnRocks.com, you can find our YouTube link where you can subscribe to our YouTube because there is a spin-off show which we believe will be successful enough to move on into a secondary show, episode at least.
What is this?
Drink Up with Don Stugotz.
Oh, yes.
That's our guy right there. Don Stugotz has been a loyal listener for quite some time, and I get a good chuckle out of him. And he said he wanted to do a drink tasting show. And he just wanted a platform to throw it on, and I was like, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He's a funny dude.
Yeah, he's hysterical. And so he records it, I chop it up, and then we put it up there, and yeah, enjoy another drink with Don Stugotz. Drink up. Don, if you're listening, cheers. So I'm glad you brought it up, Bishop. You guys are over there at Terrible Wrestling Takes doing show after show. Your episodes continue to number, is that correct?
Yeah, I think we're on 54, maybe 55. I don't know. I started out as like, let me try to do a wrestling podcast because, they don't exist.
They don't.
And then it's just like, I can't do it without practice. Well, okay, so I'll practice first. And I go, well, how do I get it to my phone from my computer? I might as well upload it to a service. And then instead of, doing it admittedly, like practice number 1, practice number 2, practice number 3, I just numbered them and figured how many into this before it's not practice.
That's a good point. We did have a pilot before we had episode 1, to be honest. I believe our pilot episode was predictions for WrestleMania 36 or 35, I mean. And then the first episode 1 was our review of that WrestleMania. So we were on quite a high. But it's been an episode 1 ever since then. We've started rough. We remain rough. Lunar's in the chat. Lunar, thank you for coming through. I know he's excited because that dude, he's pissed. He got teased for his absolute favorite, and it did not come through. He said bottoms up. GR Lunar from the chat, huge Goldberg fan. That guy is incredibly big on Goldberg. He stopped watching when Goldberg lost the title, so he's back in. Now that Goldberg's back, legit, he fucking reinstalled the network. And he's caught up because he's like, well, now I got to know who Goldberg's going to defeat and take over because there's no way Goldberg's going to lose. I'm like, you're right. He can't lose.
And they wonder why they bring him back,
I know. Legit. They just
He moves numbers.
The needle's moving, pal. Bishop, what's in your glass?
I'm on some red wine tonight, so nothing on the rocks. But I am Malbec, little 1919. I don't know if my virtual background will pick up their label. Sponsored, not sponsored.
Sponsored, not sponsored.
But yeah, 1919 some Malbec costs about $9. Smooth, doesn't give you a hangover. So
Smooth. Smooth and hangover free. I am having what I think is I wanted to make a drink that was special for Bishop, and finishing off the bottle of Proper 12 Irish whiskey, because I don't know if you're Irish or not. Are you Irish?
oh, Redbeard gives it away.
Redbeard, the old Redbeard. See, I had a feeling he was Irish, and then as a bit of a mixer, because we do things on the rocks. And by the way, it's not always about what you drink; it's about who you're drinking with. And today we're drinking with a good friend Bishop. It is Brooklyn crafted ginger beer. That's right. Made some
Enjoy.
ginger beer with the. This is one of those things where it's like a shot of the ginger with the whiskey.
That's how my wife got pregnant.
Yeah. Sponsored, not sponsored, baddragon.com. Check it out. Friend of the show. Friends of the show. They are, man. Let's see. All right. Well, I mean, guys, the news did not move. Not a lot of news. But we do have one thing. We do want to give out a cheers, a little shout out, a happy birthday to Ron Killings, R-Truth, K-Quick, 24/7, 7-Eleven European champion, also former NWA world champion, the real world champion, Ron Killings. Cheers and happy birthday. Do you have a drink over there, user? No? Just waiting? Waiting until you have a potato? I couldn't find anything else actually in the news, Bishop. Was there anything that happened news-wise in the wrestling world that you're aware of that you thought to bring up?
No, one like kind of cool somber story I just figured out. Today's 14 years since Bam Bam Bigelow passed away, and
Damn.
when he had passed away, I was in shock, but I was 22, and I went to go work on a cruise ship, and I worked with this guy who he was telling me this story about what Bam Bam Bigelow was like in high school. I'm like, that's weird. You went to high school? He's like, yeah, man. He showed me pictures that he had on his phone. Imagine that 14 years ago, first edition of the iPhone. But of Bam Bam Bigelow at the guy's wedding, I was like, yeah, man, it's a shame he died. And he goes, he died? The guy was in jail for like 3 months when Bam Bam Bigelow had passed away. And I ended up telling his childhood friend that he died. I was like, son of a bitch. So every time I see Bam Bam, I think of that story, and I just feel bad that I had to break the news to that guy. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, that'll rattle you because you're all like, oh, yeah, it sucks how he died a month ago. And the guy's like, what?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah. What are you talking about, dude? Well, No, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah, he called his ex-wife and everything. We were working in Hawaii at the time. It was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And he called back east, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and she was like, "What are you yelling at him over?" He's like, "Wait, did Scott die?" And I felt so horrendous.
yeah. You're all fucked.
Tell the guy his best friend passed away months ago. You're like,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you went to high school with the dude and you didn't even know? You couldn't have been that close.
Right. What kind of friend are you?
Yeah. Fuck.
I think it's Pat Patterson's birthday.
Today would have been Pat Patterson's birthday. It's a shame.
And just all the WrestleMania news. That's all.
That's true. In the news, we did get a little bit of WrestleMania news. That's a good point. Great call out.
Oh yeah.
Great segment by the big man.
I really liked that. Did you watch that video, like 4.5 minute video? Or they showed the whole thing.
Yeah, I saw it.
The whole thing ended up playing
They
on
should have
Raw.
get on Raw too.
Yeah. I'm not usually into like the super goofy shit. God, that one made me laugh, man. I got to chuckle. I liked it.
I was into it, and then at the very end when they took the wigs off and they were like, did they think it was us? I was like, you should just let the joke go. That when they pulled back the curtain on that, I was like, eh. But it was definitely is better than, having the real press conference and going, the way they usually do it. So, and then announced 3 years in a row of WrestleManias is interesting too.
Yeah. And so we got this year coming up in Raymond James Stadium. So it'll be the Pirate WrestleMania Part 2. They did say it was going to be 2 nights this year again.
And this is good because Marsh was so pissed that he missed out on all this Pirate WrestleMania gear. All the merch that they were selling, they immediately pulled. So he didn't even have a chance to get it. So
What? I wasn't trying to get that one. I was pissed they pulled the Rumble gear.
no, it was the Mania.
No, because of the actual matches they pulled. The match ones, like the Fiend Firefly Funhouse one, the I Wasn't There did not last long. Yeah, there was a few of them where I was like, fuck, they didn't even go on sale. They just sold out and they're gone.
I was waiting for some $5 t-shirts for sure.
Yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, I still got to get on there. They had those Thunderdome, I Was There Thunderdome shirts. I need that. I'm in the Thunderdome every fucking week, so. Yeah, so it's going to be too big for one night yet again this year, but then the following 2 years, it'll be just big enough for one night. So the following years will only be one night again. They did say in the thing that they're going to be announcing ticket sale information. So I think they're going to have people in this year.
Well, yeah, it's at the same stadium that the Super Bowl's at, and I think the Super Bowl was talking about, or the NFL was talking about doing like 6,500 fans, plexiglassed off areas. So I would imagine that they're going to follow whatever the Super Bowl does and maybe ramp it up like an extra 1,000 or so fans with it being like 2 months afterwards. So
should be like,
I mean, I could see them, following that lead and getting some bodies in there. I just don't know if they need it though.
Go ahead, producer.
I wonder if they're going to require everyone to have vaccines, to have documentation of having a vaccine or not.
I wonder about that too, but I think that it's going to come down to, I think like what Bishop said, whatever the Super Bowl does, they're just going to say, yeah, I'll have that too.
Yeah.
I think it's funny too that they're all like, fuck you guys. I mean, as much as they're always like, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl of wrestling, but it's bigger than Super Bowl. And then for Super Bowl, they're going to be all like, I mean, I know you guys didn't have fans that last year, but we're definitely having fans this year. And they're like, well, fuck you, dude. Not only, fuck you, dude. I'm taking your stadium and your fans. They're not having it. So I love that. So, well, yeah, I guess we'll see whatever they do. I mean, I want to go so bad, but I don't know. I mean, even with a limited amount, I just think getting there is going to be rough. I might just have to quit my job. I might just do that.
I think by the time fans come back in full swing, I mean, because who knows whatever's going to take to get us there. Because, if the next Mania is going to be in Dallas and they did 103 or 110 or whatever they called it at the time, there's no way in a year I'm going to feel comfortable being around 100,000 people. But between Dallas and Hollywood the following year, I think there's a good chance that I'm going to one of them. I just don't think Dallas would be the one, but I think I would shoot for Hollywood.
I think I'll definitely do a Hollywood before I do Texas. I've been to Texas and I had a lot of things wanting me to go back to Texas. I mean, I've been to Florida too, and I'll be honest. Fuck Florida, dude. I left Florida. I was on a trip out there for a couple weeks. I left there and I was like, yeah, I don't mind if this place stinks.
Hey.
Well, yeah, and then producers are like, your mom lives there, and I was like, I said what I said.
And all the wrestling is there.
I know, but I'm so torn. All the wrestling is there, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna probably live in Florida one day. Get it while I can. But yeah, so they're gonna do Dallas and they're gonna do LA, and they're gonna do 2 nights this year, and then 1 and 1 on the next. So I'm excited. It gives you something to live for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gives you a purpose, a focus. There's hope. And 2020 nearly took away WrestleMania, which I had said from the beginning we were not going to not get WrestleMania. No matter all the stuff you were like, is it going to happen? No, fuck you, dude. There's no way it's not happening. Literally the showcase of immortals. They'll be fine. They'll be absolutely fine. So, it was really fun, though, being at work and watching, after watching my quiet time WrestleMania, as I'll refer to it. And people were ragging me the whole time. They're like, you're not going to get WrestleMania. I was like, fuck you. Not only am I getting WrestleMania, I'm getting 2 nights of WrestleMania. And then I'll be like, oh, how was your Super Bowl? How did it go? And they're all like upset and stuff. And we're like, oh, because I can tell you all about the matches I watched at my Mania.
Right.
Jerks. Everyone's jerks. But I think that was it. I think that was it for the news. Maybe we'll have to meet up in California for that Mania. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else for the news. I think we get right into SmackDown if you guys are good with that. Down.
Let's do it.
Down. Let's do it. All right. Let's see. Lunar's like trying to defend himself in the chat, but like honest to God, think about when he got rid of the network and when he got it back. The Goldberg timeline stands still. It's true.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It reminds me of like that Dave Chappelle skit where he's like, you can tell when a guy doesn't do something because they're like, please believe me. You know, like they're overdoing it. Yeah, that's what he's talking. That's what's happening. Let's see. On SmackDown, let's see. We had Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns doing their thing. I really liked this back and forth with them, dude. I loved it. All of the Adam Pearce stuff.
And this camera
Yeah,
that they
I
have?
was in on the Adam Pearce thing until they did the bait and switch this weekend. It really ended on a sour note for me. So I don't know if you want to jump into the main event of SmackDown now, but
we'll get to it. We'll talk about the other things real
Okay.
quick. Let's talk about the new camera that had producer lady thrilled. That 8K camera they got for the intros now, dude. How much more can they look like a video game? It's so good.
Yeah, the NFL's been using it for a while, and it trips me out every time. It's too unreal, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, but when people say that we're living in a simulation, God damn it if we ain't getting closer.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
those 8K cameras are way too real.
Yeah. Something about those are even more real than real, and you go, oh, we've upgraded
Yep.
the Matrix.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
And we watch on a projector that's like massive. It's like it takes up a whole wall. So for us, you get amazing shots like that with a camera like that. Oh, it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's bigger than life size in our house because it's like 6 feet by 11.5 feet or some shit. And yeah, so when they're zoomed in on someone's face, that face is 6 feet big. So like, yeah, those it's so good.
It's really impressive, but it's not that it's a little much, but I mean, where does it go from here? Like, our matches going to get done in 8K as well? Like,
Oh God,
you know,
can you imagine though the Funhouse this year? We've already got a
Yes.
2-nighter. We're gonna get a Firefly Funhouse. Imagine that
Have to.
shit in 8K.
all the fire that's going to be there from Randy Orton. And I mean, you would imagine it would be Fiend and Randy Orton in a Funhouse blow off, right? And whatever new creative version of the Fiend is coming up.
Well, you also kind of gotta appreciate that they're kind of compensating for not having live events. They're, giving us everything that we could possibly want. I think on like visually on screen because they can't do any live events anymore.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that. I do think, though, I thought the Firefly Funhouse was built to murder. I'm not ready to see Randy Orton wrap up his career. He's got to murder someone else. Daniel Bryan, he's got to like do Daniel Bryan or something. Or
Well, yeah, I was just throwing it out there because the Fiend hasn't touched anyone else yet, and this thing with Randy isn't done, and it's not going to be done by Royal Rumble. So, I mean, I'm just throwing darts at the wall. I mean, I really don't care who it ends up being because the Fiend hasn't missed.
yeah, that's true. But he did kill John Cena. Is the thing.
Sure.
So I don't want
Now he's Hugh can't see me.
Hell yeah, he is. He's got a whole second career now.
Which I don't know if you noticed in that video, Cena's haircut was a little too good for the hair that he has. Because when he came back the first time with all that hair, even he made fun of it. But that haircut he had in the video, I go, is that an in-ring pay-per-view haircut?
Yeah, I wondered that too. He looked ready. Let's see. Jey Uso came out and cut another really good promo. Although I think they probably could have shorted it about a minute. He kind of rambled on a little long, but he's so good. And then he had that match with Shinsuke, and Shinsuke won. Fucking Shinsuke is so good right now. He's next level right now. And he came out with his old music.
Yep, that was kind of the highlight of SmackDown for a lot of people is just Shinsuke getting his music back. I don't disagree. I mean, it's well deserved. And again, I'm not a fantasy booker, and I'm not this is what they do and this is how they force them. I just kind of take it in. Mm-hmm. But this is an obvious, we want Shinsuke as a babyface thing, to take the Japanese rapping out of the music and just go back to the old stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, they put the rapping in there so people couldn't sing along, and now they're all like, you guys can sing along. But at the same time, who's singing along if you're in the Thunderdome? So makes me wonder if they're going to pipe in.
You didn't sing along? I did.
I'm not in, well, I did, but I'm not in the Thunderdome. And I sang along anyways when it was the Japanese one. I did my best. Because I'm at home. No one can call me names and be right about it. I can be like, look, I'm trying.
Right.
Just the same way I sing along to Grubhub commercials and Popeyes commercials. I mean, I guess I did do that in the live events too. When they would play the commercials on the screen, I'd sing along. People gave us looks. Because they also open up all the live event shows with that little like doot. Yeah, and I would sing along and people were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, there's no way. You guys don't. Okay, forget it. Let's see. Street Profits I kind of ignored entirely, but I know they made producer pretty upset with their words because she was like, what the fuck? What is he talking? I was like, I actively don't know. So I don't know if there's anything you want to say about the Street Profits.
No, I'm just confused on the in and out of them. I don't what they were so hot and now they're cold. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I kind of don't know what's going on with that too. But even at the same time, did their title reign feel all that impressive or important? And the fact that they had like 2 title reigns because one was kind of handed over, I do think that they were getting a little stale as champions. And so I think putting it on Rude and Ziggler could be good for both teams, to be honest.
It could move the needle, but I don't think either one of them moved the needle without something to do. So if neither one of them gets something to do, then it's so I wouldn't necessarily blame the Street Profits as much as I would, again, I'm not going to say writing or booking or anything like that, but if they had something to do on TV, they're always entertaining with something to do on TV. So they just haven't done anything.
I just like them so much, man. And then what was it? That interview came out with James Storm a while back, and he was supposed to come back right after Mania, and then COVID hit, and now he's like, well, now I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. And you're kind of like, just fucking come back. I don't care. If they came back, if he was like a new Dirty Dog or something, I'd be all right with that too. I love James Storm.
Didn't he sign with AEW?
What? No.
Or is he back with Impact? James Storm. Didn't he sign back with whoever he was with? Did he sign back with Impact?
No, I thought he didn't sign back with Impact. That was the whole thing.
I thought he did because of the COVID thing and the Bobby Roode thing wasn't going through. I don't know. I don't read dirt sheets. I just wait until they show up on TV.
I know. That's what I wait for too. But what did he show up on?
I thought he showed up on Impact. I don't think
You thought he showed up on Impact? Yeah. Man.
But I agree with you. They counter-program you guys on Twitch, and I watch you guys instead. So.
Yeah. See, they're always counter-programming us, so they're kind of actively against us. The thing is, I like James Storm so much, but I'm not watching Impact every week. I guess that just puts him in another pile in the pool of amazing talent that I love, who happen to be on Impact, which I'm not on fire for. You know what I mean? I want to support everyone over there because I love all those talents, but the creative over there is just a little weird to me.
I think they suffer the most without a crowd. Because I tried getting into them, and like even the North, because the North were facing, it was either the Machine Guns or the Good Brothers, and I'm like, this match is kind of cool, but I'm not invested, and it's mostly because I don't know who they are, and if the crowd gave me someone to invest in, because the announcers weren't doing it, then I was just like, okay, like this is kind of a cool match, but I'm out, I tried.
That's true. Them and I would say NWA have not figured out a way to do this yet. And because WWE is the juggernaut that it is, and they made the Thunderdome, it really kind of offsets a lot of other things. AEW putting their people up in the front the whole time. And I think you also want to stand out and you don't want to look like everybody else, but
right.
I think the thing people liked the least about the COVID matches was when it was completely empty and silent, and they're still rocking that. And maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's just that it's hard for me to not feel like I'm just watching security footage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they echo pretty hard too. So it's not an easy watch, but at least
I love
people
everyone
get on
over
TV.
there. Yeah, they're getting TV time, they're getting ring time, and I love all those wrestlers over there. I don't even think there's anybody over there who I'm like cold on. I think I want to see all of them on everything. Let's see. Natalya defeated Liv Morgan. I liked that match. Although this is where Billie Kay came out. Natty's ring gear looked like Lana's ring gear.
But not as... It seemed more of age for Natty, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
I didn't think it was as trying to look good than it was good-looking ring gear. But that was just something that stood out for me. Because Natty sometimes has a lot of sheer in her ring gear that's like, you're a technician, you're powerful. And I had this gripe on podcasts ago about how they try to make women look too sexy. And Natty's, for one, who doesn't have to do that, because if she just focuses on the ring work, she'll do much better. But when she tries it, so anyway, the change up in the outfit for her this week I thought was pretty good. But the match was fun too, which is surprising.
Yeah, it was. We had Billie Kay on commentary. I feel like you'll have more to say about Billie Kay than me.
She's awesome, man. She's awesome.
I feel like Billie Kay's an inside joke. Like, I feel like every time she does stuff, I turn around and the whole room is laughing, and I'm just sitting there going, like, what did I miss? I heard all those words. What happened?
I don't understand how you don't get it. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I guess I'm just in on the joke. Like, we love it. We love it because, imagine, all right, so what it is, right? It's a TV show, and if you're watching, like, I don't know, like, you don't watch Deadpool for the action. You watch it for the action and the comedy, like, and the profanity. Like, there's layers to this. Okay.
Oh, that's Deadwood. My apologies. Keep going.
Yeah, that's definitely not Deadpool, but no, like, I don't know. I think it's just hysterical. And I tell you this, if for anything, she gets the freedom to do that stuff. You know what I mean? She gets, like, here, Billie Kay, do that. Because half the shit she does, there's no way you can script that kind of execution to what it is.
Okay, so that's exactly it. You've nailed it. That's exactly what makes her an inside joke. Because it's just this goofy shit that someone's doing on TV that people think it's funny because it's on TV. That's the inside joke. And to me, that's not necessarily always funny. It doesn't always hit. I do see Lunar is saying in the chat that her presence, her accent, stupid. And then says she has great comedic timing. And I do appreciate that. I do feel like she's the type of person that her friends find very funny. And I do feel that her doing stuff on the shows are the kind of things that make her friends laugh. And so I think that everyone in that company is laughing. They think it's hysterical. And I do think that people have friends like her, and those people are laughing as well. I don't keep friends like her.
Okay. All right. Well, so in the beginning, it started with the resume, right? She brought the resume out. This is why I should be with you. This is why I should be on TV. Now she's finding creative ways to get on TV. She's ran out of resume options. So now she tags along with the Riot Squad. She tries to be a cheerleader because she was bouncing back and forth in between matches, and she's trying to find ways to get on TV. Kind of like when Heath Slater was doing I Have Kids, and he kept trying to make a roster. Like, the gimmick is what they're doing. It has nothing to do with, maybe even the end goal. Because at first, and I think you guys commented on this for what the wife and I were saying. Shout out to @Mrs. TWTakes, who's upstairs playing Harry Potter Legos on PlayStation.
She already put the kids to bed. This is totally
Oh, absolutely, yeah. 7:30's bedtime over here. But no, it was go down through every woman in the locker room, try to recreate a tag team because she's been tag team champion, and I can make you tag team champion too. And they kind of cut that out. And had they kept doing that, that's the story. And it turns out that, okay, maybe she's not the good one in the group, and she has to refine Peyton Royce, which I think we can all agree the Iconics together are better than the Iconics apart. But overall, I don't know. I get entertainment out of it. I was laughing nonstop.
And I also think that's good. I'm not saying she shouldn't be on TV and she shouldn't be doing this. I'm just saying I don't think I find the same things funny. So,
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of her pitching to get a new tag team. I do kind of like the idea of her pretending to be punk rock. I like that they did some stuff on social media. Ruby Riott posted a picture of Billie Kay's bag that said Billy's punk bag. Punk pack. That's what it was. Yeah. If they keep doing stuff like that, I mean, how many tag teams do they have which are definitively characterized that way? Could she come out with another tag team? And I mean, there's not a lot of tag teams on SmackDown.
No, that's it. They're done. That's it. I think this is it.
They went through it.
Yeah, unless she shows up to Bayley, because Bayley's trying to get into the women's tag team classic on NXT. It's like, we've both been champions, but that even in storyline, even in ring, it doesn't work. So I'm not really sure what the end game is. I just know that Friday I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I dig it. I'm into that. Producer had something she wanted to say about it.
Oh, I think he totally hit that on the mark. That he was entertained. Most people except us were entertained, and I think she's got a groove with that as the clearly not punk person that Ruby's just rolling her eyes at. I could be okay with that, even if I know it's not for me. Yeah. But I was gonna say I really did like Tamina and Natty pairing up. I like the idea of them as like having this huge family history behind each of them, like almost like a bloodline. Like I don't know what I'd call them, but I love how strong and scary and powerful they look.
Yeah, Tamina and Natty together I like a lot. They're really good.
Yeah, they can just call themselves generational talent.
Yeah, I mean anything along. Yeah.
Hey, did you shoot a link out to this so people come watch us?
What do you mean?
On Twitter, so like people can come see us?
Yeah, it's on our Twitter. You can follow our Twitter at WOTR the show. In the morning there's one. Maybe she could retweet it right now for us. That's probably good. She's gonna do that. Let's see.
I'll
and tag TWTakes on the next one right now. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's see. Oh,
I can't
Lunar
see
says
the
Billy's
chat,
trying
so
hard. Okay, she's doing her best. And yeah, I mean I get that too. I do wonder if it does Ruby and Liv any favors. Like we said, we've really fallen cold on them lately, and then watching them think that they're cooler than Billie Kay, while they're also kind of playing big kid, little kid. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's doing them any favors. I don't know, but at the same time, what are the three of them doing outside of this without each other? So at least they're all getting TV time and doing something. But
I think that was my main point too. At the end of that match, there was 5 women who were on TV for an extended period of time. Because even when Tamina came out and there was no music, no introduction, the commentators even said, "What is Tamina doing here? She has this look on her." They did present the 5 women in a way that usually goes through, 45 seconds on TV. Yeah. So they got more time than that.
They did, and it did put together a pairing of Natalya and Tamina in a way that you could think they could be a threat had they kept doing stuff. And they put over Tamina as being big and scary with having Billie Kay running away from her and stuff like that. So I like that too. Yeah. It's all good. I'm a big fan of Tamina. I don't think she needs to go off the top rope, but I like her. Let's see. King Corbin beat up Rey Mysterio and his son. Always a fan of that. Always a fan of dude who can punch a dad and their kid. You know what I mean?
It's a good match.
What do you think?
I'm a huge Corbin guy.
Yeah, dude, I love Corbin so much. I think so. He would like some of my tweets and stuff here and there, and then I saw him at an airport and made a tweet comment about it, and I think that was it. I think he muted me after that. I'm pretty sure.
Hysterical.
I saw him at an airport, and it was during the Roman Reigns thing, and I tweeted out something like, "Hey guys, on my way from Florida to Phoenix for SmackDown, and Corbin's on the same flight. Roman Reigns better watch out." You know what I mean? Like something like that. And then like I saw him like look at his phone and look around, and like he sees me and then like looks back down, and I was all like, "What the fuck? I was joking around, dude. Relax." Like, but it's all right. It's all right. He can mute me. I still like him. I think he's fantastic. What do you think about Ray telling Dominic that he's got an idea? He's going to bring in some help. Do you think we're getting Cain Velasquez back?
I said that on my show that came out Saturday. and I don't know because my first thought.
What's the
that
name
popped
of
in
your
my head
show?
was big. My show is TW Takes Podcast. Stands for Terrible Wrestling Takes. You can find me on all platforms. I even have a Twitch stream.
It's all right. It's just
Twitch.tv
first episode.
/TW Takes Podcast.
I'm just helping you out. I'm helping you out how to plug.
Well, you just said say hi, Bishop. That's how it started. But no, yes, TW Takes Podcast. Terrible Wrestling Takes. I can't point because it's a virtual background, but I'm trying to point to behind me where it says Terrible Wrestling Takes all over the place.
It's also an audio program, so people can't see you anyways most of the time. So.
Yeah, but we're live on Twitch, and we just promoted that. But I do
Correct,
listen.
We're live on Twitch,
to...
twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks.
Yes, I do listen to you guys on Wrestling on the Rocks when I'm not counter programming. What you call it? That other wrestling show on Tuesday nights. But no, I said it on my SmackDown recap that the first name that popped in my head was Big Show because he talked about size. And I don't think we're at a point where you bring in Kane again. It doesn't line up. Kane's promo work didn't work. Call me crazy. I actually enjoyed the Brock Lesnar match with Kane in Saudi. I thought
it wasn't bad.
Story execution, because I'm an MMA guy too. Story execution, realism, it worked. And that's all it needed to do.
Yeah.
I don't think it works. And I don't think Corbin, as much as I love him, is serious enough that you need a former UFC heavyweight champion to take him out. That doesn't vibe. So I don't know who else it could be. I really don't. And Big Show is not someone you want to see come through anyway. So I really have no clue.
Do you think we're just going to flat out get Buddy Murphy back?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my gut. My gut tells me it's going to be Buddy Murphy, and then we got a Buddy Murphy and Corbin program. To be honest, though, the idea of a Corbin and Dominic program excites me more because I do think Dominic was so good in there with Seth, and they were so smart with the way they were booking it and putting together the matches. They told great stories, and he was showing a lot of potential. And I don't think he's been sitting around doing nothing since then, so I think he's only growing. And I think having him in the ring with a guy like Corbin, who is just a big ball of heat, I feel like that's not a bad deal. I feel like that's a good spot to be in. I feel like, put him in there with someone who's definitely going to get booed, so he can definitely get the cheers. And let him learn that way, especially because from what I hear about Corbin from other actual experts and not just drunks on Twitch like us, Corbin's a legit dude who really truly understands the business and like on a level that a lot of new talent are not touted for knowing. And it sounds to me like he's the type of dude you'd want young talent around, from what I've heard from people not drunk on Twitch. And
if you ever listen to Corey Graves talk about him, I mean, Corey Graves has the best things to say about him. And Corey Graves always, to me, seems like someone who takes wrestling as serious as wrestling nerds do. And I think he wouldn't allow the appreciation for someone who taints the business. So, I mean, that's what really solidified it for me. From day one, seeing Baron Corbin, I was like, oh, this guy understands what's happening right now. So I don't know why people hate him so much.
Yeah, this guy's different. He's so good. Yeah. He's just that good. You're all getting worked. And I love watching people go on and on about how much they hate Corbin. And I was like, oh, this just feeds his soul, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll get Buddy Murphy, but I think we might get to a place of Dominic and Corbin. I hope we do. I want to see Dominic and Corbin.
Give me one outside guess. If it's not Buddy, who? Buddy or Kane?
Aleister Black, that's a good one. It could be an Aleister or Humberto.
The fact that he alluded that it was a big guy, that's what I'm not understanding. You know, that's why the Kane thing makes sense in canon, you would say, but like I just don't see the need for Cain Velasquez right now. I just don't.
True.
I don't understand.
And Aleister's bigger than you think. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say anyone's bigger than Mysterio.
That's
I'm
fucked
taller.
up.
I'm taller than Mysterio.
That's so messed up to say that.
I'm taller. I remember meeting him. I was taller than Mysterio.
Her whole argument is that everyone's bigger than Mysterio.
Big compared to Corbin.
He knows two giants when he sees them. God. What if it's Batista, dude? That'd be so sick.
Well, I mean, me and you just marked out over his Eddie match the other day, so I think I'm okay with a Batista match.
I think that's probably what did it. It's probably where I've been on all Batista lately. And then he had his 52nd birthday. Happy birthday to Batista. And he posted his pictures of himself all shirtless, a la Jericho, but looking way different. Just going to leave that there. Leave it right there on the table. All right, we're going to talk about my favorite segment of the night, and then we'll barrel through the rest of SmackDown, I think. Bayley hosted the new talk show, Ding Dong Hello? This was so good, dude. This was so good. Not only was I just having the time of my life, and I know that I'm being biased on this one, and that's fine. So the music, for one, had that Saturday Night Live style music with a saxophone going. They put a door out there. She comes out from behind the door. She makes Bianca go through the door. So fucking funny. She put out a huge plaque that said SmackDown Women's Champion 380 days on it. I liked the chemistry between Belair and Bayley, to me, has been a really pleasant surprise. The first couple times I saw them interacting, I was like, okay, I guess they're all right. But watching them bounce off each other more and more, I'm like, oh, this could be the rivalry of the next decade, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. At first, it doesn't seem like the obvious pairing, but I think me and you have talked about this before. I think the Batista Eddie match was one. You have somebody who works fast and someone who works more technical. Not that this is the exact example, but Bayley can slow down Bianca, better than probably anyone else. And
she did. That match that she beat Bianca.
I know. Yes.
That was the whole story. She kept shutting down Bianca.
Yes. And makes her look more like a wrestler instead of a high spot artist, which of course she's not, but it's the limited time that the women get. They don't get 18 minutes to work out a complete match. Yeah. I loved it though, because even I've had the complaint I've had about Bianca, which if you ever watch Talking Smack or anything like that, is when she slows her speech pattern down as well. She did that in the Ding Dong Hello segment too. She slowed herself down. She cut out some of the sass, the attitude, and I don't want to say she lowered herself for the sake of Bayley being higher, but she definitely played a different part than she usually does, and I'm all in on it. It was a really damn good segment, and I absolutely popped for Bianca going through the door, because all I said when Bianca's coming down, I said, Bayley, you make her go through that door. Make her go through that door. And not only did she make her, but she made her press the doorbell too.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. I do think that Bianca toned herself down a little bit, because I think she's leaning into the babyface style of her character. And I don't think she's super used to that. In NXT, she kind of was a heel because she was using her hair as a whip and shit. She hasn't done that in a while. She's now using it as a tool, which is way different. Throwing her hair to Sasha to drag her to the corner. She's leaning into that. And I do think that there's a certain point where Bayley's like, we can't both be over the top obnoxious. If I'm going to be the most obnoxious person in the ring, you're going to have to talk a little lower. And I'm not saying that that's how the conversation went or that Bayley's controlling that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm using that strictly as a voice of conversation, but not as some sort of like, I really think Bayley's doing the whole thing.
No, it sounds right, because I was actually looking at this too. There's people. I mean, think about this, right? This Is Your Life, Bayley. Remember that? How drastically different was this? I mean, she went from one of the worst to one of the most just entertaining. I don't know if it was good. I don't know if it was bad. I don't know. It was just entertaining. When it comes down to it, it just, again, like the Billy Kay stuff. What was it? I don't know. There was a wrestling match around it. But were you entertained? I was. You necessarily weren't. But in this, there was nothing around it. But were you entertained? And they damn sure killed Ding Dong Hello.
Oh yeah, they did such a good job at this segment that the concept of an obstacle course coming out doesn't make me immediately cringe.
Right.
These two are so good together that I'm thinking maybe they know how to make an obstacle course work, because a lot of people haven't. I'd say the Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley one wasn't as bad as a lot of the other ones, but I wouldn't say it was like the best thing that it could have been. I mean, I don't know what could have been good about it. I think that Sami did an awesome job, but like, what are you going to do with an obstacle course? I feel like that's so much the tone of some of those things, right? Yeah. It's like, well, how what are you going to do? It's going to be kind of bad. Something.
Right.
I get the impression off of these two working together, I was like, there's something up their sleeve there, and we're going to be real surprised by how good this is, I feel like. Producer has something she wants to say.
I kind of think that that is due to both of their work ethics, because I heard Bianca speaking, I forget which interview it was, but I read that she was just talking about, how she pitches ideas and everything. Yeah. And she's like, well, you don't just get to the top. If something doesn't work, you just keep working at it. Like, work is not, she made it sound like this should be the norm. You shouldn't be, fighting, oh, I have to work hard. Well, yeah, that's how you always should be. So I feel like both of their work ethics together is really just shining right now.
Yeah, it's tremendous. They're so good together. It's crazy. And like I said, I've never been excited for an obstacle course before, but at the end of this one, I was all like, oh, this could be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would think that it's an easy one for Bianca based off of everything that they, talked about it, but you just don't know.
And I think
that's the intrigue.
That's one part of it. The other part is because we've had segments like Bayley, This Is Your Life, and matches like the kendo stick match, I think that Bayley's probably more sensitive than others to a real damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a scenario where I don't think she's going to, and it's not her show, but I don't think that she's going to go into an obstacle course without something there. I think she's also big enough where she can say, yeah, but maybe there's another way. Yeah. So I think the idea that we're getting an obstacle course with someone like a Bayley involved at this point in her career, I feel like there's something there that we're not expecting. You know what I mean? Because I would think that she'd go fighting, kicking, and screaming if it was just going to be another shitty obstacle course segment. And it could be. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that she's running shit, but.
Right. But if it also turns out to be a complete, dominating victory by Bianca, this could lead to another skills competition of some sort as well, so we're taking it as face value as just what they told us so far, and that's an obstacle course. I don't disagree with you, but I do agree that Bayley could be using her seniority here in all those things that she went through with Alexa and how to get to that next stage, that in trying to build Bianca, maybe that it's best suited to put all of her talent out front and then bring the experience in and make her work from the bottom. That makes a lot of sense, but we'll see. We'll just have to see. I don't disagree, but there's a very good chance that if it is a straightforward obstacle course, and let's say it's time to Bianca wins by 2 minutes, Bayley's going to have to get creative and super heel to knock her back down a peg. And that's interesting in itself too. So, we'll just have to wait for Friday.
Well, I just mean so many of the obstacle course segments we get are just so cut and dry and kind of shitty that I get the impression this is going to be more entertaining for some reason.
Do you think they're going to do this one around the ring, or do you think they're going to shoot it outside during the day, kind of like the Viking Raiders and Street Profits thing?
Oh, God.
Not the same campy, funny way, but in a way that shows you the abilities on a grander scale, because, the Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn one was done around the ring, and it was in the confined space,
I would prefer that for sure. Yeah, because the other stuff just comes off as too fucking camera angle-y.
Yeah.
Bullshitty. And the thing is I do think we do have two good, high caliber athletes who actually could probably pull this stuff off. Okay. Why fuck around with that? Now I'll give you Mr. Perfect did a lot of his they did a lot of his vignettes and stuff with the camera shots, and Bruce Pritchard still to this day on his podcast will say that most of those things were one take, that Mr. Perfect, the guy, was actually one of the reasons they chose the things they chose is because he could do those things anyways. He was that good of an athlete all around. And you go, okay. But then at the same time, when they got into the other side of things where he threw a pass that he caught, he threw the ball to himself, then you start going, okay, that's cameras.
Right.
I don't want it to be a thing, because that was the thing about the Viking Raiders one, and not only was that whole thing so shit to begin with, it was just like, whoa.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go down that road. I just didn't know if they would use a bigger area to kind of explore showing the actual talents instead of keeping it confined to the area. That's all.
I hope it's both. I hope they do like a track and field thing, and it's on the screen and stuff, and they somehow just make their
Right.
way into an obstacle course that's in the ring, and they do a
You
little
never
bit
know.
half and half.
Yeah, you never know.
That's true. Bailey was posting on Instagram this week on a pogo stick. I hope this obstacle course has a pogo
Oh,
stick. I really
Jesus.
do. Yeah. So we'll see. We will see. This was really entertaining. And as just kind of a side note, how cool is it for Bailey, right? To be considered always bottom in the 4 horsewomen when everyone's always like, who are your top 4 horsewomen? How do you place them in order of your favorites and down? She's almost always on the bottom. And when people talk about mic skills, she was always touted as the worst one on the mic for so long. She's gone from people being shitting all over her and her mic skills to them just legit saying, here's a mic in 15 minutes. Fucking have fun.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I have this inside information or that I even know that that's how it goes. But at the end of the day, she was alone in the ring with a mic for an extended period of time, scripted or not.
Yep.
You don't do that with somebody you don't trust.
Yep.
So I just think it's so cool.
No, she
She's
came
gone
out the
from
back end of this. She came out the back end of this Sasha feud with more screen time than Sasha without the belt. You know,
That's a good fucking
and
point.
trusted, and trusted to bring up Bianca. You know, more so than just throwing Bianca into the title feud. I mean, it is a massive step because I don't disagree with all that stuff. But now that you say that, I even think about this. They left her in NXT when the 3 of them came up.
Yep.
As the champion to help build the division. Who's trusted more? Are you popping ratings with women? No offense, because I absolutely love women's wrestling. But when they brought the 3 of them up, that wasn't the highlight. But Bailey in NXT was the highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you have the Asuka reign that you have without Bailey setting that up.
1,000%. Yeah.
I think Bailey's
don't have
severely
Marsh as a
underrated
fan.
by people. Yeah. 100%, man. Let's see.
Awesome.
I mean, speaking on that, Sasha Banks did have the little attack she did on Carmella and did tell her. Sasha told Carmella, pronouns, pal, if you listen to Something to Wrestle With, she wants to wrestle Reginald one-on-one first. This is my favorite part of this. Everyone's been talking about how Charlotte's too good for the women's division. She's got nothing to prove there anymore. Charlotte needs to wrestle men. People are going, Charlotte should be wrestling Randy Orton. I keep hearing this stuff, and I go, I don't know about all that. But what I do know is Becky Lynch had a match against James Ellsworth, and now we're about to get a Sasha Banks match against Reginald. By the time Charlotte gets around to some random match with a dude, we're going to have already seen it. You're not the first one ever this time. Pal.
And do you not remember the greatest end of days of all time? When Becky took it in the mixed match? That end of days was beautiful. And I mean, if there's one person I love in wrestling, period, it's Becky. If there's one heel that I stand for, because everyone hates him, is Baron Corbin. So when I saw that, I jumped off the couch. I screamed. I loved every second of it because I knew exactly why Becky did it. She did it for the cause in the match, and Baron Corbin looked amazing doing it, and Becky looked amazing doing it. So yeah, by the time Charlotte touches a guy, you know, that's not Andrade, but you know, we'd have seen it already.
It's fucked up. Sponsored, not sponsored. Friends of the show, baddragon.com.
My takes might be terrible, but they're true.
Yep. Justin Times in the chat says, look at this dynamic duo. Cheers. Justin, cheers. He's a friend of both shows, actually. My show
Yes,
being
he
this one you're
is.
listening to now.
That's my Twitter co-host right there.
And I like Justin on Twitter, too, because he gets fiery on Twitter. He gets so passionately
it's the
mad, and I
best.
love it.
Oh.
I'm like,
One
yeah,
time I got
feel
him.
it.
One time
that
I got him to
hate flow
tweet me,
through
I
you.
said what I said.
Yeah.
I just love the thought, which I highly doubt it's true, but I like the idea that we have to watch another show on Wednesday and pretend that it's Wednesday Night Live. And I love that this was just done as a just awesome segment, and it was done so well.
Oh, you want the Bailey one still? Yeah. Because she's been saying, so we're pretty certain that Bruce Pritchard listens to this show or watches it. I think he probably watches it and drinks along. I feel like he's the drinker.
What's up?
Yeah, Bruce. It's nice
Cheers,
to have
Bruce.
you through. Cheers to Bruce Pritchard, friend of the show, no
Put a
doubt.
T on your back, not in his name.
Absolutely, check him out. I do think that, he's watching. And when he hears us talk about live from Florida, it's Wednesday night, he took that and said, we can make a Saturday Night Live skit with Ding Dong. Even the intro, dude, the animated intro thing, fucking loved him. Let's see real quick in the chat. Splinter Fox coming through saying Impact is crazy tonight. Dude, fuck, get it. Don't come in here trying to tell people to turn the channel. Come on, man. Same platform, dude. It's all good. It's all good. Splinter Fox, friend of the show. Let's see. So I did like the Sasha and Carmella back and forth there. Apollo Crews beat Sami Zayn tremendously with the roll up and the tights, and now Sami Zayn's doing his whole conspiracy theory thing. You are not feeling this conspiracy theory thing, but I'm fucking loving it, dude. Yeah. Because we're going to get the payoff later. This is the build. This is all a build of disappointing everything and
to what?
And just to the best fucking WWE Network documentary that we will get in a decade.
It's going to look like the Blair Witch Project.
It's going to be so good.
Okay. So, just if they did it as well as they did the Saturday Night Live Ding Dong Hello, if they did it that well, like so bad and so good, that's what is happening in Marsh's head right now. That's what he's seeing.
Dude, I hope he's doing it so seriously that you just can't take it seriously. I'm just
well. That's where I agree with you on me getting worked. Like, I understand because Sami Zayn takes his character so seriously. So there's nothing he does that isn't serious. So he's doing exactly what he's supposed to. Now, whether I like it or not, if I don't like it, there's either I'm worked and I don't like it, or like when Roman Reigns was beating the shit out of his cousin, and I'm like, I don't like you. There's a big difference. You know, because I really like everything Roman's doing, but he actually made me hate him when he's beating up Jay. And I'm like, oh, that's different than me not liking what they're doing with Sammy. I'm not getting worked by Sammy. I just don't like it.
You don't like it because you want fantastical matches, which is what he's keeping away from you on purpose. Because we know he can do the matches. We've seen him do it 100 times. But that's just it. He goes, yeah, you've seen that.
So I appreciated the 30-second loss in the gauntlet match. I did. I appreciated that. I for exactly what it was. Yes, he got so involved with the character that he lost, and then, that's what you get. Completely, I'm on board. But it doesn't.
How good would it have been if you actually had a Sammy Ray match, though?
Right. But I don't hate him for not having it.
I know. Splinter Fox is saying half of AEW seems to be over at Impact right now. I would say check it out on Instagram later. They'll post it all. They always do. But we're live right now, and we don't post on Instagram because, producer.
Neither do I. I have
producer
it, though. At TWTakesPodcast on Instagram.
At TWTakes on Instagram. Right.
We post some clips.
We do try to. I try to get you to, but.
Whoa.
Shots fired.
Let's see the big two things that happened here. One, Cesaro defeated Daniel Bryan. Cesaro's looking like so fucking good right now. And then after that was the big Adam Pearce turn.
So before
anything you want to say about the Cesaro thing? Oh, go ahead.
Before the Cesaro, you mentioned Apollo, and then you went right into your Sammy diatribe. Apollo, when he first showed up on SmackDown, as soon as he was on screen sitting next to Roman Reigns, I felt like Apollo was so fucking important. I mean, important than I've ever seen Apollo look. Just him sitting there. He did nothing. And then 30 seconds later, he goes to get up and Roman goes, no, sit here. It's a teachable moment or whatever. I was like, oh my God, Apollo's the greatest thing in the world, and he's done nothing. The power that Roman had at that moment, unbelievable.
Yeah, he made Apollo Crews a player all of a sudden just by sitting there and whispering.
And that never happens.
Yeah. Between Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, Apollo Crews is like, he feels bigger than he felt when he was near the U.S. title.
Absolutely, and that carried into the match with Sami Zayn, that this wasn't going to be another Apollo may or may not. This is Apollo, new attitude, new direction, new goal. And that I thought the match came off really well. I actually liked it better than the Daniel Bryan-Cesaro match.
Just because of Apollo Crews and Roman?
I guess. Honestly, I could say how it all looked in ring. I could say whatever, but at the end of the day, I guess I was more invested in Apollo than I ever was. I mean, that's just a guess. But
I'll be honest with you. In my book, Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn are same level to me, and Cesaro and Apollo Crews also same level. So I could see those matches being, in a sense, mentally interchangeable of which one was actually better to me personally, and being equally invested in both. Because I don't see them necessarily as interchangeable talent, and I do think that they are that good. But I also think Apollo Crews is as good as Cesaro and underrated. When people talk about who's the most underrated superstar, and Cesaro wins it every year, that tells me he's not underrated. It tells me he's absolutely appreciated and recognized. He just isn't the champion.
Right.
He could be underutilized, but he's also been a champion with every single person he's ever had a tag with. Yeah. And he's held the tag team championships more time than the Dudley Boys. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he just has had it with other people. Or, I mean, I don't think he's spent more time with Dudley Boys. I think he's had it 6 times, and Dudley Boys had it.
I know
like
what you mean, though. I mean, that's absolutely true. Because when I first got into this, him and Tyson Kidd were absolutely amazing as a tag team. And then, you know, everything he's done with the Bar and what he did with the Bar and New Day was absolutely amazing. And then even with Nakamura, they had fantastic matches. So I don't disagree. But to, I guess, push forward a little bit to the Cesaro-Daniel Bryan match, I felt like as good as these guys know each other, we could have gotten something a little bit better over the 10, 12 minutes that we got. I found it, I usually say a little bit left on the table, but for what we got, I found it like they missed a little bit just on some little things. But
I think that head knock that Cesaro got that made him bloody, I think that made him woozier than we think.
Okay. I didn't take that into consideration, but that would make sense if that's the case. Because
while I was watching, I saw his head bleed, and I was like, oh, man, it's a little weird. And then he was, like, laying down a few times, and he starts to do the spin, and he stops real fast. And I was all like, oh, that motherfucker can't spin right now. He's already just he's holding it together.
He's already got
but he's also he's also a Swiss cyborg. He's the Swiss Superman. He's gonna pull through, but he might also be smart enough to know his limitations, which I think is great.
Yeah.
So 100%. Nothing there. Justin Times in the chat. Let's see. Splinter Fox is... Well, let's go back. Splinter Fox says he's putting it on both shows right now. He's got 2 tabs with us on one and that other thing on the other. Let's see. Justin Times says, just Apollo Crews bringing his presence. He makes him a made man. And then there's some stuff going on about Raw. Let's see. Cesaro is... Oh, son of a bitch. I pushed the button. Justin Times says Cesaro is more recognized for what he does by the fans than by WWE. How is that possible? Just let's surface level alone. They give him the TV time for us to be able to appreciate him on that level. If they truly didn't appreciate him or didn't think that he had the capabilities, he wouldn't be getting 10, 15, 20 minutes on all these shows and holding 1,000 fucking championships.
Tag team or not, I think to his point, it's more how do you elevate out of the tag team. But when you look at something like the Dudleys and the Hardys, I mean, maybe that's what we have to resign ourselves to as fans, that Cesaro is now going to go down in history as one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. And we just got to stop looking at him as... No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just not what we want for him, but it's not up to us to decide. So.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's the same thing as I saw someone posted the other day. They were asking if Mr. Perfect was underappreciated. And I was like, are you out of your fucking mind? First off,
his name's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, his name's Mr. Perfect. The picture they showed of him, he's got the fucking Intercontinental title strapped around his waist. The dude has been touted by the fans as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Not only by the fans, but by every motherfucker with a podcast. He's not underappreciated at all. He's absolutely appreciated. Do you think that holding the world title is the only equality to appreciation?
Right.
Because I know.
So have that conversation about Piper, you know? I mean, who didn't love Piper? And if you see any white T-shirt with red rings around the neck and sleeves, do you think it's anything else?
Right.
I mean, that was the first Ronda Rousey shirt I bought. I had to. Like, it just...
That's what's right behind me is a signed Roddy Piper shirt. He's the centerpiece of this whole thing, and that motherfucker didn't win one world title.
Right. Even when he should have.
Oh, yeah.
That whole build with Hogan and WCW is like, dude, Roddy, get the fucking title. Everybody wanted him to.
Yeah, I know, but he was just such a badass. He didn't
So
even
good.
care. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, I agree. I think that Cesaro, I don't believe that he's underappreciated. I do believe that there's times he could be utilized more often or maybe slightly better, but I don't think I think that we as fans, like you said, have to get it out of our mind that being the world champ is the benchmark for appreciation.
Yeah.
I think that these shows, I mean, that's 5 hours of wrestling a week that they're putting on without a pay-per-view. There's a lot of segments that are all very important. And sometimes it's at the top of it, sometimes it's not. But I don't think that anybody shits on Cesaro. And I also don't think that when Cesaro comes out, commentary does anything but a fantastic job of saying, oh, get ready. And don't blink. You know what I mean? They make you feel like he's important.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Sorry, that's my thing there. So let's talk about it briefly because I don't think I have a ton to say about it. You don't like the idea that Adam Pearce has a wonky knee and needed a substitution. That guy's got a little knee, man. He's a 5-time NWA champion. That knee gets wonky.
Nah.
He's got a limp a little bit. He's like Willy Wonka. He like rolled and popped up. The little cane got stuck.
No, look, I said this last week, man. I said this last week. The story that they're telling with Roman Reigns, the matches are ancillary. The opponents don't matter. It's the character work. And in this context, the only reason why Adam Pearce is facing Roman Reigns is because he disobeyed the Tribal Chief's orders. It has nothing to do with
continuation.
But
All right.
he literally just did the same thing that got him thrown into the match, which is create a match with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. So the power that Roman Reigns wielded is now diminished by Adam Pearce doing exactly what he wanted to do 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So
you don't think that's going to come back?
Is now taking power. I don't know, but it felt at the end of SmackDown, it felt like Roman Reigns was less important as when he gave Apollo power. I felt like Roman was less important in that moment, and I felt it really knocked the Tribal Chief down a peg, where I don't trust him getting those powers back next week.
You think Roman didn't feel the same way? That's the reason you felt that way, because Roman was emoting it that way. Roman sat there fucking humbled, and Roman sat there like, you fucked me. Kevin Owens being put in the spot's not a bad deal to me. I think it's a good deal for the match. It's going to be tremendous. It's going to be a fantastic match. Who knows what's going to happen in it? Adam Pearce, this is not the last time we see Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns nose to nose. And I think that what's going to happen here, I think you get Roman Reigns beating the shit out of Kevin Owens, and then you have him saying, what now, Adam? It's you and me. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that Roman is going to be more furious than you are about this. The other thing, I was saying this before. I was saying it offline because I was furious about one of your guest spots you made on some other show I've never heard of that I was listening to.
Appreciate the listens.
One of your friends was talking about all these accolades that Adam Pearce had, but about how old those accolades were. So does that make him actually important, and does this make the match seem worthy at all? And my argument was, yes, that may be a long time ago. However, what that tells me, each single title hold. So you tell me 5-time NWA World Champion. That tells me that guy's a 10-time World Champion storyteller, because he had to tell an incredible story getting into the title and getting out of the title.
And getting out of it, yeah.
This tells me that whoever we have is skilled at telling a story. Whether or not this person's skilled to do a flip or a dive, I don't know. I don't care.
Right.
I got every 5-star match I want to see. Go ahead.
It's absolutely a great point, and I agree with you. I enjoy getting worked. I love it. I take pride in the ability not to eat crow. I try to articulate my points close enough to where you can't call me out. But if I'm wrong, I'm definitely have no problem saying that I'm wrong. But no, in this, SmackDown is absolutely outstanding with cliffhangers. They definitely go, you got to watch next week. And with the Bayley segment, with the Roman segment, it does put us in position as what's happening next Friday. but I didn't like it because Adam Pearce was put in that goddamn match because he fucked over the tribal chief, and he fucked him over again the same exact way he fucked him over last time. So, I don't even know if you. I think you just push Kevin Owens aside. You make Adam Pearce catch that ass whooping backstage, so he can't even show up the rest of the show or even on Raw. And it's Sonya Deville from here on out. Like, I can't imagine that they even get near Adam Pearce and he doesn't catch hands.
Yeah, you're getting work, dude. I love it. That's my favorite part about this is you're clearly getting work.
And I'm happy to, because that means I'm watching for the right reasons.
How dare he
means I'm watching for the
my
right
man's
reasons, man. Yes. Yes.
I love it. It's so good. And I agree. I think 100%. I watched it, and as soon as Adam Pearce did that, I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, Roman's not going to like this. Roman is not going to like this. You think Roman's going to let this go? I don't think so.
I love
I didn't even take it that. And you know why? Because I'm not really on Roman Reigns' side. I'm on the side of the story. Because if I was behind Roman like Jay is, because Jay's like, this motherfucker did it again. We got to go get him. And I'm not even looking that way. I'm just on the side of the story. I love this tribal chief angle. It is so consumptuous of his family, of the WWE. It is something that we would never get in any other scenario. And it's just fucking perfect. And they're adding a layer that I wasn't ready for. So,
for sure. Real quick in the chat, Splinter Fox is talking about some Cesaro matches when he was back in ROH, which sound like good watches. I've actually heard great things about when he was back before he joined. But and one of my favorite matches of Cesaro in general was when he went down to NXT to have a match, or 2 or 3 was it, with Sami Zayn. Those were fucking incredible. Let's see. Roman. So Splinter Fox thinks Roman's going to get Adam Pearce in a steel cage. He goes, I'm calling it. I would love that. And then Justin Time's in there saying completely disappointed. Yeah, I know. I'm not against that at all to figure that one out.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah. Let's see. Justin Time says completely disappointed me that Adam Pearce wasn't going to be part of the match at Royal Rumble. The fact they told the story of Pearce wanting this moment and getting people invested just to take him out was a letdown. Yeah, your friend got worked, dude.
Yep. That's why he's my co-host, brother. We agree, we disagree. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love how pissed off Roman looked. It was perfect.
He looked so fucking pissed because his look said everything that Bishop was just saying. You fucked me again the same fucking way.
It kind of reminded me of Samoa Joe, how Joe would look at AJ and just you'd be like, oh my God, he's gonna burn your house down. That's the look that he gave. It was great.
Yeah, he gave a Samoa Joe style look where you're so like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't good. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say really about SmackDown. I mean, I know we always go a little bit long on SmackDown because I think SmackDown is the most fun and most interesting wrestling show of the week every week. I mean, I don't think it hurts that all my favorites are there, but I don't think it's also coincidental.
Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast found on all platforms. I did Raw and NXT last week. I think my show was 45 minutes. And I did SmackDown by itself, and it was 35 minutes. Yeah. It gives you a lot. I mean, we just talked about it, the feelings that we got across the board and the amount of investment that happened. I mean, what more could you ask for as a wrestling fan?
Oh, dude, it's just fire. It's just absolutely fire. Justin is saying in there, just the utter disgust the minute Owens' music hit. And then Fabtina's saying, I saw the fire in his eyes. Splinter Fox says the SmackDown after Royal Rumble is going to get Adam Cage in a cage, calling it. We won't see him again after that. And then Splinter Fox says Samoans don't play that face that they give when you know you're fucked up. When you know you fucked up. That's true. I got to see Samoa Joe once in a bar, and he was walking by, and it was in a bar where I was seeing other wrestlers from here and there because I was just staying in the same hotel as them accidentally. And he walked by, and I was like, oh, shit, that's Samoa Joe. And he just kind of looks left and right kind of, and as he looks over, we kind of made eye contact, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry, sir. He just has that presence. But at the same time, he walked outside, he stood outside with some friends and was just laughing and joking. He looked like the nicest dude in the world. But when he's walking a certain way, you're so like, yeah, nope, not worth the risk. Definitely not worth the risk.
Yeah, no one would interrupt him during dinner like they did Mysterio.
Mysterio's the nicest human being in the fucking world. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I'll say this and then we'll go.
I'm glad he got his eye back too.
Rey Mysterio was able to, you know what? I think that was a gift from God because he's the nicest human being in the world. God was just like, here's your eyeball back, sir. Because there's just nothing. He's the most golden heart I've ever seen a wrestler around fans. It was incredible. I met him, was it twice at Royal Rumble? I mean, I know we got the one picture with him. But I met him there at Rumble in 2019, and one of the times I didn't go up to him, but I wasn't watching him. I was watching fans go up to him while he was eating dinner. And as they came by or made eye contact and were like, he would stop eating and put his food down and walk over and be like, no, let's get a picture. And you'd go over and he would do his like fucking hand thing because he's got the bird on his hand. And then you'd be like, thank you so much for being a fan. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And then he would sit down and start eating again. And he was looking around. And as people looked at him and he could tell when they recognized him, he waved him on over. Yeah, come get a photo. Come get a photo with me. And I was like, wow. You're so fucking nice, dude. Like that's the nicest fucking thing in the world. Just because I also saw other people who were eating, and it was very much like, I'm eating. Afterwards, I'll walk around and say hi to some people. Like, there was a thing.
And he was mask on?
No. At dinner, he was mask off. And if you recognized and made eye contact with him, he just took a picture with you, right? Like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd never seen anything like that. And then when we did meet him at, we went to like a lunch because we got like the big package thing for it. And he showed up there with Asuka, and they did photos with all of us and signatures. And then afterwards, he came in and he goes, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart. And he goes, and I'll tell you right now, I speak from the entire locker room of my brothers and sisters. He's like, we just appreciate you guys, and you guys are the fans that keep us doing this. And like you guys, and like just going on about how much he loved that we were even there and spending that kind of money. And it was all like, that's cool because you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
Because he asked to come in. Like, we were all sitting waiting. Because as we were, like, meet him, they'd shoo us back into another room. Right. But there's glass there, and you could see. And he's like, no, I want to go in there. I want to go address them all. And you're just like, that's so fucking cool, man. Like, he's the nicest human in the world that I've ever come across, I think. So I'll just say that. Putting over Rey Mysterio. Because I don't know if people know, but he's a legend. Let's talk about Raw. Let's get into it. Like you said, some of these other shows you can kind of bunch together. Raw is one that typically has highlights for me and lowlights. This might have been one of the better Raws in a long time to me. Was this one equally as good to you? Did you find this more enjoyable than most?
Yeah. There was an entertainment quality that, you know, even if they gave you like a low, kind of came back up a bit.
Yeah.
The Miz segment when we get there is one of those. I mean, it was all over the place, but when it ended with the Mrs. promo, you're like, oh shit, okay. So,
yeah, 100%. Let's see. How did the show open? Oh, the show to open with the Orton thing. This dude with that crazy mask, his burnt up nose poking through it. I was watching it. Producers all like, what's all over his nose? I was like, burnt flesh.
Yep.
Fire does that.
And see, this is why I don't feed into negativity. I don't feed into dirt sheets. I don't feed into any of that shit. There was people talking about how, they showed pictures how the fireball missed him and all that shit. I said after Raw last week that it was the greatest fireball of all time. The way it was shot, the way the reaction happened, it was phenomenal. And then the payoff to that is the guy in a homemade fucking superhero mask. Like, fucking right. Like, imagine saying this week we're gonna open Raw with a 12-minute promo of Randy Orton in a mask. You're gonna go, fucking opening Raw with a 12-minute promo, especially with Randy Orton. Because when he did it a couple months ago during the Drew McIntyre feud, I'm like, I don't need Randy Orton opening Raw with a 12-minute fucking promo. Yeah. Well, I needed it fucking Monday, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'm so glad they opened with it because the week before, Randy Orton goes to set Alexa Bliss on fire. The camera cuts and like, tune in next week to find out what happened. You go into Raw Talk and they're like, we have no idea what happened directly behind us. And you're like, assholes. So then they tune in and then it's like well over half an hour before Randy Orton shows up and goes, that? Oh, yeah, no, I didn't do it.
No, I didn't
anyway,
do it.
The whole thing is with Bray. And you're like, what the fuck? So I like with this one when they're all like, Randy Orton's going to address the issue. And then they open up, and Randy Orton's all like, "My flesh is falling off of my face."
Yep.
And you're like,
Yep. I thought it was awesome. Well done.
yeah. And then how good was that fucking promo where all it really was Randy saying he's going to be in the Rumble, right? That's the gist of the whole thing was I don't blame Alexa, Bray's a dick, and I'm going to be in the Rumble because fuck that dude.
I couldn't tell you one thing he said, to be honest. All I know is that the way it was shot, the way it looked, I was just completely like, this is the Randy that I needed to see this entire time. That's all I was saying, is that you gave me the Randy that I wanted. I don't know what Randy's saying. Fucking A. We got an awesome promo to open the show. I don't even know what was said, but it was still awesome.
That's what I mean, is it was... All in all, your bullet points was like, hey, tell them you don't blame Alexa, tell them you don't like Bray Wyatt, and tell them you're going to be in the Rumble. And he goes, I got you, boss. And then puts out that thing where we're all just all like, oh my God.
Right.
Randy's a different level, man.
And I hate Randy Orton on the level of Sammy's not giving me what I want. Like, was never a fan. But
give me what
the entire 2020, yeah,
give me what I want.
the entire 2020, Randy has just like, well, with the exception of some of the Drew McIntyre stuff, but at least, you know, that you hear all the stories how Randy doesn't give a shit unless he feels like giving a shit. You can tell he fucking gives a shit.
Dude, if that's true, he's been giving a shit for a couple years. Let's see, real quick in the chat, just in time coming through again, saying the Fiend and Alexa Bliss have officially woken an even more diabolical and demented side of Randy Orton. That could be, and that may not be the best thing. He did say that the voices in my head have never been louder. I don't know what that means.
That's true.
Splinter Fox says, Randy Creeper with the mask, he should have had that mask on when he went into the Legends poker room and attacked the Big Show and Flair, HBK and Christian. That would have been a good mask for him.
Yeah, but the goggles wouldn't have fit right.
That's right. See, the goggles could have fallen off. They got a hook on his ear.
Yep.
And that mask probably covers up his burnt up, frazzled ears.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're not having ski night goggles and that mask, so.
Right.
Night vision's a funny thing. You don't want to mess with it, man. Science. So it opened up with that. That was phenomenal. Randy Orton's another level. He just reminds me of what I want in a world champion. But we have Drew McIntyre.
No, we got Drew McIntyre.
We did get a Drew McIntyre. Let's see. We did have Charlotte Flair versus defeating Peyton Royce via submission. What do you think about this? And during this match, Lacey Evans comes out with Ric Flair wearing a Ric Flair robe. And they did cut a whole promo before. So I'm like all over the place. There's a promo with Ric Flair and Lacey where Ric Flair says nothing and Lacey just has the mic and does her thing. This is, to me, such a great use of Ric Flair. Because here's Ric Flair giving legitimacy to Lacey without taking away her stardom by talking for her. She's fine on the mic, and she needs to get better on the mic. She's not going to do that without mic time, and she's not off on the mic at all. So give her the mic time, let her tell the story. Ric Flair is just there to give her legitimacy and to cheat for her. And that's exactly what's going on. I'm loving that.
No.
You say no? You don't think Ric Flair's doing that? What do you think Ric Flair's doing? You don't think he's?
I don't care what Ric Flair's doing. No, well, that's the presentation. Is that there's something adulterous happening, and we all know that Ric Flair is in the most successful marriage of his life, and Lacey Evans' family was on TV like a year ago, and she's happily married. Like this, the angle of putting them together flirtatious for the sake of one-upping Charlotte to have Lacey on that level, it just makes zero sense to me. The storyline makes zero sense. I understand what you're saying because in 1 + 1 = 2, all that stuff does make sense. But the why, there is no why. It's just, hey, you look like my daughter and I want to bang my daughter, but we're both happily married, so we're going to stand next to each other. It doesn't make sense. And Lacey has such a stronger natural character to her, she doesn't need Rick. Whatever the Rick is there for doesn't make sense. Now, yes, when Rick accidentally tripped Charlotte during the tag match when I thought that they actually won the tag titles, Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans, that is, pronouns, that I was like, okay, cool, that's great. But the fact that they keep going, it doesn't make sense to me because there's no point in having them together in an origin. You have to kind of tell me the payoff. I would rather Rick step up and say, as much as I love my daughter, as much as she has my genes, she's not as good as Lacey. All Lacey needs is just a little bit of the nature boy. Woo! And that's it. But we're not getting that. We're getting this semi-adulterous fucking storyline that just doesn't make sense, especially when we know the backstory of these people. Now, that might be the 36-year-old in me as opposed to the 8-year-old in me who watches for the sake of watching, but the story makes zero sense.
Yeah. What I'm saying, 100%, because I think that how we got here and why we're here doesn't make any sense, and it's going nowhere and isn't going to help anyone. I think if you're going to put Lacey and Ric Flair together, the utilization of Ric Flair, not by storyline, but by actual functionality, is better as like an old-time manager, like you would have seen back in Memphis, where the manager, or not like there, but like more of an old school style where them being there and them cheating on their behalf, but not always talking for them, but being able to talk on behalf of them if need be, would be nicer than how we've seen most managers. However, you're right. How do we get here with him as a manager? He's not a manager. He's this weird sexual thing that doesn't make any sense. I think producer had something she wanted to say about this.
I kind of lean on Bishop's. I kind of lean on Bishop's argument more, but that's because I don't care for her character as it is right now. But I kind of see this story as, I don't know if it's gonna like end up being a wedding. I could see it going down that road because of the Lana and Lashley thing. I don't like it, but that's kind of what I see in the future.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I have
think
a similar
that we get
disconnect. I mean,
yeah,
when they did the everything with Lana against Rusev, like, we know you're together, and I understand that they like to, rib on the square, as Stone Cold would say. Like, they try to make a joke out of what's real, and maybe like plant these seeds, but you're also not really in position to fool much of us. I can't really speak for that based off of the Roman stuff, but in this case, there's too much truth behind the story they're trying to tell us, and it doesn't hit for me. I'm not the biggest Charlotte guy in the world at all, and she is talented, and to use her talents properly isn't just to constantly go, "Hey, Charlotte, you hate your dad again." I don't understand. It's not. I don't think it's doing anything for Lacey, to tell you the truth. I just really don't. She's super athletic, and her gimmick in NXT was awesome. And then they turned her into Sassy Southern Belle when she got to the main roster, which I thought was cool when she started interrupting matches with her music and then just walking right out. Like, was great. It showed that how important she is. She gets in the ring. She does some cool shit. She was in that match with Baron Corbin and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. Like, she was in a spot. And then, like I say all the time, it's up to putting them on TV. You put Lacey on TV, we will either like or hate her, depending on how she presents herself. But this, you don't need Rick for it. I don't get it. I don't like it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't know how we get here or get out of here that does anybody any favors. I know that they're trying to utilize it to make Charlotte like go bad, and she's like, "Oh, I've always been tootled by the dirtiest player in the game." Yeah, tootled by the dirtiest player in the game. Maybe I'll just have to start doing that myself, which I've never done. The weirdest thing about this Charlotte Flair we have right now is her delusion to her own history.
Yeah.
She has no idea what she's ever done. We've got like an eternal sunshine of a Charlotte Flair's mind where she doesn't remember her entire career and doesn't remember it the way that anybody else saw it.
Yeah.
Never was the dirtiest player in the game. That was half of your gimmick for a long time, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte was also a heel for a really long time and cheated to win and did nasty
Using
things.
her dad.
Used her dad and said things all like, "I'm the dirtiest player in the game now."
Yeah.
Like, it was all there.
I believe she used the phrase "dirtiest woman in the game" at one point in time. Like, it's, I don't know. I mean, maybe again they try to recycle themselves for 8 to 11-year-olds every time, but whatever this Charlotte is, I mean, and we all know she's a supreme athlete, and they give her these storylines that disconnect us. Yeah. Give us something that makes us connect.
Yeah. I'm not sure why she's not just accepting her history and giving a different rationale for it. Just like every woman we've seen. lately, you know. Yeah, I'm not sure why she just doesn't. It's almost like she doesn't want to do the I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me it's like someone that doesn't want to do the deep dive of character work to figure out the why, and instead just be like, oh, just say that wasn't you.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Let me ask you guys a quick, because I think you guys kind of see Charlotte similar to how I do, and you've had some interactions with her, right? You did like a meet and greet or something.
I have met her before, yes.
Okay. Do you think a Charlotte babyface would work better than what we're always given?
No. For whatever reason, when she's in front of a camera, here's the thing: is when I met her, it was not in a meet and greet scenario, and she definitely wasn't on, and she didn't even introduce herself as Charlotte. It was a very particular situation. And we talked for a long time. We talked for probably longer than most people I talked to back there, apart from maybe Kofi. She was so nice and so cool. And when I thought I was going to talk to her, I was like, oh, God. Like in my mind. I'm just going to hate this. And then she was like fucking rad. And we talked about all kinds of stuff. And it was just this random conversation. And it was really nice. And I walked away and I was like, oh, man, I'm a huge Charlotte fan now. I want Charlotte to win all sorts of things. And then she comes back out on TV and tries to be nice. And I was like, I'm not buying it. You're a bitch. Fuck this. Boo! Like there's
See, I never thought
her...
we got a long exposure to Charlotte as nice, but every time I hear her on interviews, I'm like, this Ashley's a fucking sweetheart. Like,
yes.
How do we get that to translate on TV? Because for me, I don't buy into the heel because it doesn't feel like she's being natural.
Because she's when she's like, I think the part of her that's the heel is the part of her that's competitive. And I think that the part of her that's the sweetheart backstage is the part that's not trying to compete with you. And I think when they try to bring that babyface out on screen, because they've tried before to make her a babyface, she still needs to win this interaction. Be it I have to have the better promo, I have to have the
like
better
one-upsmanship.
It is. And so there's nothing she can do to stop the competitiveness. Yeah, that's heel
behavior, sure.
Which is where the heel lies in her. And so I think when she turns that up, I'll be as competitive as I can be and say the things that I feel inside of myself that I am also willing to talk myself out of, right? Because when you're super competitive, you're like, fuck that dude, I'm better than him. And then when that dude beats you, you go, fuck, that dude had my number that day. But then the next day you get up and go, no, but I'll fuck him up next time. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of you that understands
then why
that.
Not to turn this into a quick Charlotte podcast, but why not go to the Bret Hart excellence of execution? If she goes into because she's got the second nature and what's that fucking finisher she does where she flips over? Natural selection. Like that's all about being basically what Bret Hart said he was, right? Excellence of execution, who's this second generation talent. But who was more babyface than Bret Hart when he was excellence of I can't even fucking say it. Excellence of execution as opposed to the Hitman, because the Hitman was definitely a heel, but that Charlotte babyface, like you can be better than everyone and still be a babyface. I just don't buy what they put on there as the heel. So I don't know how you get Charlotte over to me. I don't understand.
Bianca Belair is the answer to that. Bianca right now is how you be better than everybody else, but with a bit of humbleness in there. Like, I'm not trying to brag when I'm better. I just know this stuff comes more naturally to me, where I think that
and you don't think Charlotte's capable of that?
I don't.
It's too natural to go the other way?
I think so. I get the impression that there is a sense of entitlement there. That I've worked so hard, therefore you owe me. Not I've worked so hard that I've earned this.
Which is odd because she got in the business late.
Yes.
Because she did the gymnastics and shit before that. It's so weird.
Yeah, and had a lot to prove. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that she's not a hard worker or any of that stuff. I'm not trying to shit on Charlotte at all. But I do think that there's somewhere in the back there where it's I've worked so hard, you owe me, versus I worked so hard, like producer said earlier, because that's part of my daily life, and you just grind it out. And why would you not be working this hard all the time? I don't get it. Producer said
like Bailey, I work so hard. As opposed to Charlotte, I work so hard because I want this, and Charlotte is I work so hard because I'm supposed to be this.
Right.
And Bianca, I work so hard because that's what happens when you wake up in the morning.
Right. And
Right.
that's, yeah, it really, to me, kind of, it gives me this vibe of like an insecurity almost. Whereas with Bianca, I see nothing but a secure, strong, badass woman. And with Charlotte, I unfortunately don't see that. And I always feel really bad for her.
I think it's 100% it. I think that there is an insecurity to Charlotte in her success because she's had so much to prove and overcome and is going to go down as one of the greatest wrestling women of all time. So
Well,
again,
no
not to knock
choice.
her at all. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of that comes from an insecurity of thinking maybe
Yeah.
she doesn't belong here. Maybe she was told she shouldn't be here, and there's
Some
insecurity
more
that was
imposter
driven
syndrome.
there. Yes.
I can
Where
see
with
that.
Bianca, it's not an insecurity. It's actually the opposite of a security of like,
Because she's still trying to
I'm
earn
not.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you earn it,
Yeah.
and I might not be the strongest today. I'll be the strongest tomorrow, though. You know, where Charlotte's
makes a lot
like,
of
"Fuck
sense.
you, dude. I'm the strongest." So I think that's where it comes from a psychological standpoint. I don't know if you guys know this about our drinking show, but it's really about psychology of humanity. We like to
Man.
drink and talk about people's deep, dark secrets and their deepest insecurities. That's what we're doing here. Let's run through the chat real quick because I'm sure that people are going, "What is the matter with you guys? This is about wrestling."
Oh, wait until the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. Let's see. Splinter Fox does call it the Lucha Randy look. Book it. I like it. MGB Graham showed up a little late to the show, better late than
Graham,
never.
podcast
That's your buddy,
Sherpa.
right?
Yes, sir. That's the podcast
That's your buddy we
Sherpa.
talked about earlier?
He brings all episode 1 podcasts to the forefront. We do not find each other without Graham. Graham is the guy that brings us all together.
That could be. We did mention you earlier, Graham. Albeit with a little
his
snark.
terrible wrestling takes for sure. Terrible.
With a little bit of a snark. I was a little snarky there, and I apologize. I appreciate you coming in and supporting the show. I've listened to a bunch of your episodes. However, this might be his first episode 1 of ours, and every episode of ours is an episode 1. Let's see. Let's see. Splinter Fox is not behind the thing with Charlotte. Justin Time says, "I swear, every time Charlotte loses in the story, this whole piss poor story is going to be something for her to rub it in the faces of people who say she doesn't put over talent." Yeah, and she does that already, so it's only going to make it worse. Let's see. Splinter Fox says, what they should have did was had Lacey turn out to be Flair's kid from from Past Fling, and make it where she is stepsister to Charlotte. They look alike and are really athletic. I mean, you could get away with that. I don't know if I would say that's a shoulda did. Fabtina says the wine is hitting him. Talking about you, I'm sure. Justin says wine mixed with trying to English. Oh yeah, when you couldn't say excellence of execution.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I have a heavy tongue. It is what it is.
The educated executioner.
Yes.
Exceller.
Excellence of execution.
Yeah, that's what makes him so good is he could say it. And I do think that that there is a part of Brett that doesn't
You're
come
talking
from an
about Bret
insecurity
Hart.
either.
Oh my god. That was
Let's see. Hurt Business defeated Lucha House Party, Riddle, and submit via submission. So this one I thought was interesting because it did a lot of great storytelling for the Hurt Business, although people are not happy about it. And I do think that Riddle and Lucha House Party were really like a second note in this story.
Well, that's the thing, right? They're trying to show the infighting, and they've been planting that seed with Cedric Alexander from the beginning. And we talked about this during the TLC watch along, that Cedric Alexander was being put in position to turn on the Hurt Business before he even got a shot with the Hurt Business. So I'm not really understanding why they put Cedric Alexander in position to be the bad guy before things really took off with the Hurt Business.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I see this going. Because I love the Hurt Business. There's nearly I like pretty much everything they've done so far. So I don't know where this is going at all.
Yeah, I mean, the Hurt Business has been doing really good, really fun stuff. And again, like I said back in December, why would you sow the seeds of infighting before really taking charge? They won the titles while having issues. let them build. It doesn't matter how powerful they get, especially when you have Bobby have the mid-card title. It's not like Bobby has the heavyweight title and he can't get the rest of the people underneath of him in order. We're all on the same level. If anything, honestly, the tag champs are more important than the US title. So why is it that, this is happening? It's really, really odd because MVP doesn't even address it ever. He just tells them to get their shit together.
Yeah, I hear you. It does seem a bit premature,
Yeah.
I'll say. There does seem to be a level of earliness with this Cedric turning to a higher level of ego versus, like, why not play it out longer? I do like that Shelton Benjamin shoved him and said, don't you fucking disrespect me that way. I was like, get him, Shelton.
Yep.
Get him.
Yep.
But
Cedric
at the
definitely
same time,
deserves to be put in his place, but it's what, a month coming, 6 weeks worth of Cedric needs to be put in his place. I don't understand why they're just saying something now. It doesn't make sense.
I know. I do think that there's something a little premature about it because I do think that, I guess that makes sense with the titles. Like when you have a team as good as Shelton and Cedric, how do you get the titles off of them? But I think that you get a lot of really good teams on Raw that they could believably lose, and they have before. So
yeah,
I think it's a little premature, but I do like to see.
You can even do screwy shit with Retribution. Not that I'm calling for it, but you can do screwy shit with Retribution because, Retribution outnumbers them. So you can find a way to have it 4-on-4 and then Mia Yim be the reason why the Hurt Business loses the titles.
Because she'd fuck over Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, 1,000%. Absolutely. Yeah, she'd rip the mask off just to forearm him in the face and then put the mask back on. This way, Mia Yim fucked him, not Reckoning.
Yeah. Let's see. Flynn Fox does bring up a good point. Fire the cameraman for filming Bobby stomping the floor and Matt going down like he did getting hurt. Yeah, so Bobby Lashley in that segment and back. What?
That's overblown. I didn't think it was that bad.
It was shitty.
I didn't think it was that
the
bad.
camera should have been a different angle. It wouldn't have looked good either way, but they didn't have to show the feet like that. What were you gonna do? What were you thinking? And
Sure.
It was definitely a shitty shot, but was it shittier than showing the literal snow machine pumping out the snow on that way? Either way,
no.
Either way, it was an awful shot, and I'll give you that. I'm not going to disagree with that one, but you're right. That shouldn't be the end all be all thing that we're talking about, especially when it comes to the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
But yeah, shitty shot.
No, the Hurt Business was so close to be taking to being taken so seriously, but they're focusing way too much on the infighting that, like,
yeah,
I can't take them seriously. And in the meantime, Retribution is getting win after win after win after win, yet we don't take them seriously.
The rep. 100%. Let's see. Graham is saying in the chat the vibrations knocked him down. Yeah, dude. I'll be honest with you. Bobby Lashley's
Bigfoot.
It's a big foot.
Big dude.
It's a big dude.
Big dude, big foot. It's very possible.
Well, wonder if you've seen Lana's TikToks. Big dude. Let's see. Speaking of Retribution, and I rep the rep. Mace defeated Xavier Woods via pinfall. Definitely don't worry about it. It was not a King of the Ring qualifier match or tournament match, so this loss will not hurt Xavier Woods in his future standings. However, Mace, a la Mace Mob, beat the shit out of Xavier Woods. This was actually a good match, man. I like this.
I think I said it to you last week, or anyone that would listen, I guess. When did we get a chance to see Mace wrestle? Like, when do we get a chance to see Mace wrestle? Like, actually do Mace shit? Like,
yeah.
Here we go. We got a chance, and it wasn't bad. So, at the end of the day, if they're making Retribution look more legit, then keep it up. They should have done it fucking 3 months ago, but here we are now. So let's work on now.
Yeah, 100%. I'm ready to move forward with it. The other deal is they have not lost since Survivor Series, so it's been since like November, undefeated 2021.
Yeah.
Splinter Fox brings up a good story and a good point with his good question. Why do they have to wear them damn goofy masks? And that is part of the biggest issue with Retribution isn't any of the things they're doing in ring or on screen on Raw. It's the amount of work they're putting in on social media that doesn't make itself to Raw. Between Raw Talk and their Twitters and Instagram and the Instagram hijack they did, they're telling that whole story. The answer for why are they wearing them damn goofy masks is because Ali, their leader, Mustafa Ali, wanted them to be judged and made fun of by their looks as opposed to by their talent and their skill and their ability.
And their name.
Their name. He wanted them to be judged.
Yeah, he said,
by
imagine if I would give you a mask and a name to cover you up and call you something that you're not. You know, go ahead. But still have the talent underneath. Yeah.
Imagine
that's an
being judged by your looks
story.
alone. That's Ali's story. Imagine being judged by your looks alone. Imagine being made fun of by your name because no one wants to say it. Imagine being called something that isn't even your name and just having to be okay with it. Imagine the struggle that it has been to be Mustafa Ali. And when you think of it that way, you go, oh shit, we've all been calling him Mustafa just because it's easier for us. And he's been sitting there going like, yeah, whatever. Imagine someone mispronouncing your name every day at work. That's fine.
It's a beautiful story. It is told extremely properly. Like everything they're doing encompasses great storytelling. The problem is they're missing on connection.
Yes.
I was all in from day one. I thought that whatever I thought Retribution was a great gimmick when they showed up. I'm like, this is going to be phenomenal. And then once we figured out who they were, I'm like, okay, where's this going? And then they ate so many losses. And I'm like, none of this adds up. And then I start to hear the backstory, the same thing with the masks and the names. Ali put that out a couple months ago on Twitter. I'm like, oh, great. This story is so awesome, so beautiful. You guys don't fucking win. You're not showing me anything. You're not proving your point. And the disconnect was just, I was like, I'm completely out. Like I remember Justin one day on Twitter goes, I'm all the way in. And like 3 weeks later, I'm like, fuck it, I'm all the way out. This shit doesn't even make sense anymore. It was so up and down. And now since they've won so many matches in a row, still nothing. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
I wish I did
100%.
Because they're all great, but I just, it's out for me.
For me, I'm holding on because I think that the talent is there. I think the story is so layered and so artistic, but I'm also going to completely acknowledge that the on-air national TV side of things is fucking it up. And you shouldn't have to check out social media to understand the story. That's what bothers me the most about this story than other stories is, as far as WWE goes, they almost always show that stuff on their show at some point. They showed clips from Raw Talk and clips from Talking Smack because Paul Heyman said something so good.
Talking Smack's the perfect point.
Yeah, they'll actually just air it on their national show. They're like, hey, maybe you didn't watch us on the free version of the WWE Network where you can get Not Sam Wrestling, but this was what it was in case you missed it. They've done a really good job of that most of the time. In this case, they showed a portion of the clip that Ali did where he blamed Kofi for stealing his spot. Justin asked a quick question. If Retribution ever wins the tag titles or goes for them, which two members will it be? I think you end up doing something like a T-bar and a slapjack, to be honest, or a mace and a slapjack. I think that you got to have a big guy and a little guy. Although I think the coolest thing would be mace and T-bar. I think you go a big guy and a little guy because eventually that title's going to have to come off somebody, and it's going to.
I'm really torn. I'm really torn. And my first thought, of course, and I think everyone at the end of this will kind of agree that it's Mace and Slapjack. And it's because T-Bar is just so good. Yeah. Dijakovic is just so good. So he doesn't need any of that. He can flourish on his own. But I think if you want to give the credibility to Retribution, you go Mace and T-Bar and allow them to do what the Bludgeon Brothers should have. Take the titles and just fucking go decimate everybody until you have to reformulate, or even if it's until Kofi comes back, because no matter what size Kofi and Woods are, when they're in the ring, they're the New Day, and the New Day is 157-time tag champs. Like, they're as legit as it comes. So
100%. Splinter Fox says take the mask off and have them tell the story on why they've been held back. which again was something they actually did on social media that I wish they would tell
Yeah.
that story just on the air. And when I said it was all that social media stuff, he goes, "Oh, like Being the Elite, which you don't watch." Interesting. You're right, 100% right. I do not watch Being the Elite because I shouldn't have to see that to enjoy it. And to be honest, I don't have to watch their social media to enjoy the rest of Raw. It's this bit that everybody's
Or
missing
even
that I'm
Retribution.
enjoying.
You just
That's
get the
true.
rest of the story on social media.
Yeah, that's true. I
Where
mean, you
the
still
Elite
understand
is like the
idea.
entire story. Because when the Elite gets put on AEW, it's Hangman on one side, the Jacksons in another side, and they're never interacting with each other. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, they're going to separate. Well, they've been separated the entire show.
Yeah.
Retribution at least does everything together.
Yeah, I mean, with people with lives and jobs and all that and kids, I mean, how many hours do you have to even watch stuff, Some of us don't have as much as others.
I will say there's a frustration with watching AEW where the response by the fans is, well, if you had just seen Being the Elite, this wouldn't be so confusing for you. Versus us saying the one Retribution storyline is definitely enhanced by social media is a different story. Because I'm not saying, I say take it or leave it for what it is. However, if you want to see the layers of artwork being put in by the performers, that's on social media for some unfortunate reason, and I'll forgive that. However, AEW fans are like, fuck you, do you watch Being the Elite or you don't get it? I'm like, come on.
Right.
Splinter Fox does say it pisses them off knowing there's the talent is there. They look like they're goons from the 60s Batman show. I think it's all part of that whole same thing. And he wants them to one by one remove their mask and make a dominant stable. I kind of am okay with them keeping the mask for a while at least. And then Just in Time says, hated it first. Ali drew me back in, and now they have spurt moments of good, but not good enough to care. And I do think that there's definitely a disconnect there.
We need a story. We need a story, not just of themselves, but with someone.
FAP Team, I love the beginning when they were like chopping up the ropes and shit with I love that chaos they brought in the beginning.
Yeah,
And
they were
Graham
very
says,
destructive.
Oh yeah, super destructive. The spray paint, I liked all that stuff. And now, like you said, it's almost like they've diverged from that story into a lack of story altogether instead of turning it into a different story. One or the other, I guess. Graham said he actually spent 20 minutes watching Raw today and was very proud. I hope it was the last 20 minutes, dude. That last 20 minutes was fire.
Graham's missed their highlights and then listened to my podcast, so I appreciate the play on Overcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There was somebody in one of the group chats I'm in who was like, I haven't caught up on wrestling. I was like, no worry, grab a drink and join me tonight. I'll catch you up.
Let's go.
Let's go. Here's the thing about this show is you can watch 5 to 9 hours of wrestling a week, or you can listen to me for 6 hours a week.
Let's go.
Drink and make fun of it. Let's see. Shayna Baszler defeated Mandy Rose. Man. Mandy Rose and Dana whoa, what?
Oh, yes.
Who? Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, the sexy muscle friends, should be such a dominant power and glory style team, and they just aren't. I don't get it. And Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have no fucking business together anymore. None. And it's not even interesting. Because bottom line, they didn't want to be tag teams to begin with. They seem to be sort of like forced together by circumstance. They won the titles, lost them. They've got no interest in getting them back. They're not contending for the titles again. Charlotte and Asuka don't even remember they have the titles. They think they're bracelets. And now we're supposed to be invested in Shayna and Nia butting heads.
I tell you.
They never got along. Why do I care?
You're right.
Stop. Go ahead.
And here's the problem with Shayna and Nia. When they act like they want to work together, it works. But the entire time they're presented like they don't want to work together.
Yeah. Stop.
But the sexy muscle friends should have gotten the win over Shayna this week, enter the fucking Dusty Cup on NXT, and win that bitch.
Yeah.
Because the way they've been building Mandy and Dana over the last couple weeks, the amount of time they've given them on TV, and shouts to Raw for giving them time on TV, too, because that's my biggest complaint about any single wrestler across the board. If you don't get time on TV, no one's going to believe whether you're good or bad. Doesn't matter. You have to be on TV to see it. And Dana and Mandy have been getting better and better and better with every second they're allowed on TV.
Yes.
Give me one credible win over anyone. Go into the Dusty Cup and win that fucking thing. Because on NXT, what are they going to get? 8.5 minutes to have a full tag team match, no commercial break? Like, that's where you're going to be a fan.
Yeah.
But you can't be a
Producer, I
fan
think,
if they're
wants
not
to
on
say
TV or cut by commercials.
And yeah, them putting Naya on commentary was just such a bummer for me. She's rolling her eyes. The camera is not on her, and I forget who it was. They were like, so Naya, and then the camera finally comes back, and you see, oh, she's doing something with her face. We can't see you. Use your words.
Yep.
So I was really frustrated by that bit.
Yeah, you're not a lot of physical gags on audio media, as I had to explain to Bishop earlier.
Hey, let's record on Twitch, but hey, we're an audio podcast. I get it.
It's a weird mix. I'm gonna give you that right now. That was one of the problems with us going to a podcast format to begin with. Is we're like, well, we do a lot of audio, like a lot of video jokes, because like I would make faces at the guys and like do things silently, staring at people and stuff, and make for awkward silences and stuff. We're like, this will not translate. Things will have to change. So it's definitely a balance. I'll be honest. Let's see. In the chat, Graham does say it's a personal best friend watching the 20 minutes. Splinter Fox did not like the last 20 minutes. I'm excited to have Splinter Fox hang around and have a drink with us when we talk about it when we get there.
I'm not.
Yeah, that dude could go.
Patch them in.
Yeah, spit him in. Because he was spitting fire on it earlier, but I think that I'm gonna rain in his parade a little bit. Let's see. He wants the real Shayna, and I agree. The fact that we've gotten Shayna, this weird watered down, jokey nonsense. You know who I think ruined Shayna? You're not gonna believe what I say, and it's my big hot take of the week. What? The person that ruined Shayna, although Splinter Fox brings up a good point, saying Becky leaving like out of nowhere messed up Shayna's run and the rest of the females as well. The whole Raw female division was Becky, which I agreed to what he's saying at a point. I think the person that ruined Shayna as we know it is R-Truth. R-Truth on Raw Talk has been making jokes and taking
it's his
nothing
birthday,
seriously.
Relax.
I get it. Happy birthday, R-Truth. I don't need him on Raw Talk because here's the problem. Yeah. You have Talking Smack with Paul Heyman. And the thing is, I love R-Truth. I love most of his 24/7 segments, not all of them. They can't all be winners, but you like them for what they are.
48/7, 7-Eleven, I-95.
Yeah, I mean his childhood hero is same as mine, John Cena. So I appreciate R-Truth and his contributions in that level for so much. And one of my favorite interactions with Brock Lesnar ever was against R-Truth with him and Paul Heyman in the ring. Oh my God, I've watched it 100 times. It's still funny. But here's the deal. On Talking Smack, you have Paul Heyman getting real fucking serious and making you care about Apollo Crews. You have him getting into the mind of Big E. You have him setting these people up for a different level of performance, a different level. He's leveling them up just by being there. And R-Truth is there talking to Shayna Baszler about tartar sauce and hot sauce. And you got to be fucking kidding me, dude.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler stopped being serious when she started having fun with R-Truth, and I get that, and I think it's fun to have fun with R-Truth, but you came in biting the back of the neck right out of Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
You were a goddamn vicious vampire like we've never seen, and then you go and fucking just talk hot sauce? Go ahead.
From day one, Shayna Baszler has been able to tell incredible stories. I'm a huge fan of the Mae Young Classic. I cannot wait for it to come back. But her matches with Kairi Sane and the finals of that Mae Young Classic, where I'm like, there's no way this little girl can beat Shayna Baszler, a legit MMA artist. The story they told was Kairi Sane is a veteran in pro wrestling. Shayna Baszler's just getting started. And Kairi Sane out-wrestled the professional fighter. It also takes the professional fighter to go, how do I wrestle like I'm not as good as the person against me? Shayna is amazing. And when I got hit with the truth bomb fucking like 2 months ago, Shayna's 40. Yeah. She's 40. She's a woman. She's 40. For any Oklahoma State fans out there. She doesn't have much left. Very true. But, Mike Gundy, phenomenal promo. I'm a man. I'm 40. Come at me. Yeah. No, she's 40. She doesn't have many miles left. Like, it's just age is what it is. What Mother Time exists.
Yeah.
She's not going to be around forever. I completely agree. The real Shayna, and of course the money program is her and Ronda, right? Two legit MMA badasses. She's bigger than Ronda. They're best friends. Ronda's the better MMA fighter of all time. That's the legit story. They haven't had a chance to get there.
Yeah.
If we get it, we will see the greatest Shayna we can see. By the time we get it, Shayna might be fucking 42, 43 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because Shayna's really good, and she's gotten a little bit better on the mic. She's not great, but she's gotten a little bit better on the mic, and her in-ring work is fucking flawless.
She's also so much more confident on the mic now in front of a national audience than she was when she first got there. Like, her confidence on there, and I do think that part of that is due to the Raw Talk stuff. I think that R-Truth has helped her get more natural and confident on the mic. I do feel that part is true. However, I feel like
you just don't take her serious.
Yes, there was a cost there. And I think that Shayna is legitimately, for obvious reasons, she should be the most believable motherfucker to rip your arm off and beat you with your own limb. Yep. Kind of a badass in the ring. And we went through an elimination chamber, which was hard to watch and stomach and painful to get through because it was fucking 20 minutes of Shayna Baszler standing by herself and choking out every one of your favorites in seconds. But at the end of the day, that was meant to say Shayna's a different level. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I was pissed.
Yeah,
I was furious. I hated her. I got worked.
Yeah.
But I love getting worked.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it. It was beautiful though. Looking back on it, maybe we'll do that as a personal watch along one day.
Oh, maybe. I'll have to be drinking before the show for the first.
Let's we can look back on it with reverence.
Yes. Here's the thing. Splinterfox says, have Shayna just snap and bring in here other MMA, or bring in her other MMA friends and just dominate Nia and be done with that storyline and have Shayna become the Raw Women's Champion and the other have tag championships. I'm okay with that, actually, to be honest. Yeah, that's not a big deal.
It's something, right?
Yeah, Graham and Justin are having a party in there talking about each other's shows. I mean, come on. Lunar says, truth ruined Shayna. That's what he's going to say. I don't know how Lunar knew that. Lunar, tell me how you knew that I was going to say the truth, because
you guys are simpatico.
There's no way, dude. That dude hates me. No, he hates me, dude. He used to be a host on the show until I drove him away from watching wrestling altogether.
Hey, I've only been here since episode 1, so I don't know about previous hosts.
That's a good point. Splinter Fox says, put Booker on Raw Talk to build people just like Paul. Yeah, I'd be all right with that. Splinter misses Kari. I think we all do. Graham says, those other MMA people, Brock and Bobby, still solid in their mid-40s. Ken Shamrock in his 50s. Boy, do the MMA fighters age well. And that is true.
Yeah. Shayna does look like she has less miles.
Funny. I love that typo, booby. Hey, yo, booby. Hey, yo, booby. When they were building towards the Bobby Lashley-Roman Reigns match, for whatever reason, the way that Roman Reigns walked over to Bobby Lashley is like, I know who you are, Bobby, from the MMA. I was all like, hey, you Bobby. Bobby from the MMA. It's just a whole thing, dude. I died forever because he struggled.
Yeah, he said MMA like Kurt Angle says WWE.
Yeah. He struggled one time, and for me, it's the funny, like, forever. Because we're petty, and we're here for the pettiness, and I'm happy that everybody's in the chat.
Yeah, but he has new teeth now, and everything comes out phenomenal. So
that's true.
The teeth were the real heels.
Yeah. Let's see real quick. Justin says, technically, we've all been here since episode 1 if you're dedicated to the gimmick. That's true. That's one of the big benefits of listening to this show or watching this show is once you get in, you're here from day 1. Every time. Let's see. Moving on, because I don't think there's anything more to say there. AJ Styles versus Ricochet. We don't have to talk about everything, but, man, there was some good stuff here. AJ Styles and Ricochet was fucking amazing, dude. Was that not like an internet... Like that felt like that should have been an Intercontinental Championship match at a WrestleMania. I loved it.
There's a beauty to what wrestling is, and we fucking saw it. Like, I watched 0 AJ Styles before the Royal Rumble where he debuted. He debuts. Yeah. I go on YouTube. I find some stuff.
Yeah.
So I've literally been watching AJ Styles for what? It's like the 4-year anniversary now.
Yeah. Well, it's because they don't
He's
want
the
none.
great. I want all.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me everything. This fucking guy is, in my opinion, ready?
Yeah.
Number one. Name
one
anyone
what?
else.
Of what?
Yeah, everything. No, he's the greatest of all time. There's zero person to do wrestling better than him. He's the fucking best. He has an
can't think of
ability to
anybody-
make every match feel so fucking important, make every opponent look like they're going to win. This motherfucker lost to James Ellsworth, and I believed it.
Yeah. That's good.
Like, I believed that he got his foot caught in that rope so he couldn't get up the ladder to get the fucking contract.
Yes.
Like he loses to people he shouldn't in a believable way, except for the Dean Ambrose one where the wires trapped his foot through the table, like he tried a little too hard to get that on. But still, the guy is fucking amazing. He's the best to ever do the entire encompassing of what wrestling is. The guy is fucking great. And this match with Ricochet was like, Ricochet is the most important fucking wrestler as an opponent. He might win. He's not going to win. He might fucking win. Almost goes, hey, AJ, win this shit. Ricochet goes, fuck you, man. I'm going to win. And then that beautiful fucking finish, like on a Raw that people are going, this show fucking sucks. Sit down and watch it. Look what you got.
That was fucking incredible, dude. That finish was ridiculous. Dude, and
Amazing.
like you said, when everything AJ does seems natural and realistic, he goes to set himself up for the phenomenal forearm, and every time he does, every time you go, oh shit, he found himself on the outside. I don't know how, but he's ready for the phenomenal forearm. Like you
Exactly.
you have no idea how it happened. And Ricochet's the only other person I can think of, and the one person I've been saying since the first episode 1 of all of our episodes 1s, because they're all episode 1s. No one moves more naturally with sense than Ricochet. And it's the one thing I think that sets apart Ricochet from Osprey. I don't care what Splinter Fox says. Osprey ain't shit. He is a dancer.
Yeah.
He's a fucking break dancer.
telegraph.
And I've hung out with break dancers. I love break dancers. That's who I hung out with in high school. You know, they called me Payday. That was my nickname. But
Is that because you ate paydays?
every day.
All right, it's a
was my
phenomenal
favorite.
candy bar. I'm just saying.
So good, dude. It's all peanut, and then you get to the bottom, and it's just like caramel bar. It's so good. Dude, and it lasts the whole lunchtime if you do it right. Now, here's the thing.
He's putting his hand over his face.
Here's the thing. Take it from Payday. When I tell you, I know a breakdancer when I see one, and Osprey is an incredible breakdancer. He is not a fighter.
Yeah.
Ricochet moves in a way where his body motion makes sense.
Yeah.
The force he uses with his body makes sense.
Yep.
He ends up in places because that's where just his body goes, and somehow that's where he's supposed to be. Other people...
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Is he the best at a B side? He might not be who you want on an A side of a match. Is he the best at a B side? If you're the A side going for it, is he the best opponent you can go against?
If I'm going to win a match, I don't want to win it against anybody but Ricochet.
Yeah.
Because Ricochet is going to make me look like I just murdered him, and he's
Yep.
going to look like it was impossible to beat him.
Yes. Exactly.
And Ricochet does that with every match. And he's on the losing side
We
of things, and I
figured it
get
out.
that. Yeah. But here's the thing, is I think he could be A-side. I definitely do. So watching the two of them go back and forth
I don't
was
see
just
it, though.
fun.
I don't know why I don't
Like-
see the A side in Ricochet, but yeah, this match...
Because he
look,
hasn't clicked on a mic yet. He hasn't cut that promo
Yeah.
yet that brings you there. That's what it is.
What's it going to take?
That promo.
But what's that promo going to take? What's the real
I don't know.
life that's going to push him in that scenario? It's just got to come natural? Like Becky
Yeah,
getting punched
he
in the
doesn't
face on accident?
He doesn't
Yeah.
know what it... Don't you fucking bring Becky into this. Like, that was a fucking... She was a made woman before that punch ever fucking happened.
I don't disagree. I'm talking about the rocket shit. I'm talking about the rocket shit.
True. That's true.
PCB, when PCB started, I was Becky day one.
Yeah.
If there was a day one-ish that said last kicker on the back, I'm buying that shirt, okay?
Yeah. No, 100%.
But no, this
think-
match was awesome. I thought it was phenomenal. And I want the program. I want AJ and Ricochet in 2-3 months together for
Dude, but
2-3
they did it with
months.
the U.S. title, and it was great.
Wasn't
Remember they
enough.
slapped each other in the face? I know it wasn't enough. That's the
Yeah.
best part. That finish was ridiculous where he fucking hangs
Insane.
him up on the ropes catches him and Styles clashes him, the whole time I'm all like, oh! Dude, and just another quick tidbit about you talking about how good AJ is. AJ was so good about getting tied up in the ropes the whole time. As soon as it happened, you go, oh shit, he got tied up. Oh my God, his foot's caught. And you're like, yeah, he did that. The other thing he did, which people don't remember, is he wrestled an entire championship ladder match with a hole up his butthole. And you could see right up that dude's craw the whole match, and he fucking nailed it. Yep. And he just said, fuck it. You guys can watch. Get a whiff. Let's have it. Yep. Let's do this.
Against Ambrose, I know.
Yeah.
But and to the point, though, Ricochet controlling his body to get caught in the Styles Clash as well. That's not just AJ throwing him off the rope. Ricochet has to get there, too.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Ricochet is
that's why I say he's a great side B. I would love him to be an A side, but
dude, can you imagine listening to the conversation they have when they come up with that finish? Can you imagine being in the room and they're just like, oh yeah, and then we'll do this, and then I'd just be sitting there like, what the fuck are you talking about? Bodies don't do that. What do you mean? And they're just like, we got it. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes you overhear stuff at work and you go, what the fuck? Is this your first day? Like, you get mad at people because they say the weirdest shit. I feel like that's what you would do when you'd hear them. And then they would do it and you go, oh, it's my first day. I'm the idiot. I apologize. Let's see. Splinter Fox does want you to watch NJPW and TNA, AJ, if you can. He said it a different way. Let's see. Graham says 2021 minus 2016 is 5 years. I don't know what he means. Oh, how many years he's been in the thing? 5 years. AJ's been in there, and the dude was a champion within a year and held it for like another fucking year. Like, I can't think of anybody who showed up and just was all like, "Yes, I'm going into a program immediately with John Cena and winning." You're like, "What? No, you don't just do. You don't get that." And then AJ's like, "Yeah, why would I not get? What are you talking about? Of course, I'm going to go do that now." Justin says AJ's is this generation's Shawn Michaels. Justin also says Ricochet is this generation's AJ Styles. I like Justin. And Splinter Fox says, I love how Ricochet was in the new about leaving, and then they put him in a match. Oh, in the news about leaving, they put him in a match. Yeah. So this dirt sheets came out, and they said that Ricochet was going to be leaving WWE, and then he said it was fake news, and something else came out saying that he was actually signed for another like year or two. So that's just not the case. Justin enjoys our episode 1 thing, and Splinter Fox. Oh, more stuff. He goes, Ospreay is the best. You haven't seen the new Ospreay now. The Empire stable, dude. You don't even know, bro. Maybe. I've seen some recent. I saw part of the Wrestle Kingdom match and said, I don't need to see the rest of this. The one that happened this year. See, Ospreay had slowed down and was a great heel. He did also put on a ton of weight. And Ospreay looks a lot. I mean, not that he looked bad ever before, but I think he looks real fucking mean being that big, and he does flip a little less because I think part of it is I don't know if he's as flexible as he used to be, but the dude's a beast now, and I'll give you that for sure. He said Okada versus Ospreay. Graham said Bish said 4-year anniversary, hence 5-year comment. Splinter says breaking news: Private Party
Relax,
wins.
Man. I don't do man.
Let's see. Gets a tag title shot. Impact. Yeah, anyone give a shit that Private Party's going to be facing the fucking Good Brothers? Do they have a shot at all? No. Private Party weighs one of Luke Gallows' legs. Those guys are dead. They're dead. Enjoy them while you can. They've been murdered.
They also made you not care about Private Party with the Matt Hardy stuff. Like, they broke them up or gave the insurrection stuff. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Private Party's trash.
Yeah. Private Party's so bad. Splinter Fox says KO beat Cena off the bat. Yes, but he was not in a championship program and did not take the title off of Cena that way and hold it for a year. Although, I mean, KO is also a phenomenon, to be quite honest. Let's see.
Doesn't need wins.
Yes. Let's see. Dirt Sheets, BS. Yeah, about the thing. And then Splinter Fox says he did so he didn't get injured. The weight, I'm guessing, on Ospreay. Good for him. If it helps him stay wrestling for longer, keep going, dude. I don't want any of these people to not be wrestling and not having fun. And knowing that Splinter Fox is out there loving Ospreay means every time Ospreay has a match, I go, fuck yeah, dude, get it. Ospreay's going to have a good time. My boy Gimmick's going to have a good time. I love it. I'm tuning up. He says that he took the U.S. title. Ding dong, hello. Yeah, but it was not the world title. It was a different title, man. He showed up and jumped into the mid card with John Cena. I'm just saying. I do want KO to retire Triple H. Also a video on our YouTube. Let's see. Miz and Morrison hosted the Dirt Sheet. Let's talk about real quick. Did you have anything to say about Jeff Hardy, Jackson Riker in that match? I thought it was just a good match. And it's fine what they're doing. But it is just what it is, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm over Jeff Hardy. I've been over him for a couple months. If he's gonna help build talent, I'll wait until the back end of that. I'm done. Yeah. Just personal. It doesn't vibe for me.
I think it is what it is, and I think it's nice to see Elias and Jeff Hardy do something together. But again, it doesn't click to me like a lot of the other stuff has. But I'm just kind of okay with it. I let it be what it is. I like Jeff Hardy as a human. So,
and honestly, though, Jeff Hardy aside, I don't think you need Jeff Hardy to do something with Jackson Riker. You can do that with just Elias. Elias is good enough.
They're going to. We're getting there.
But I don't think you need Jeff Hardy to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just maybe that's what it is. But all right, go ahead.
Yeah, could be.
Plus, they look exactly alike.
I know. I love that bit, dude. I wish they pretended to be brothers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was like, what? Are they brothers?
I know. And I was watching it thinking, man, the three of us all look the same. What? What the hell?
Yeah.
Your beard's not as long, that's all.
What?
Yeah, it's the beard, the length of the beard. Yeah.
What's the... Yeah, we all look the same here, the three of us. It's crazy. It's wild.
Crazy.
People are like, oh, are you one of the Jackson brothers? What? The Miz and John Morrison hosted the Dirt Sheet, and we had, for the first time, I can't believe they gave this shit away, a fucking face-off between Goldberg looking better than ever. That dude is jacked. That guy has spent his time in COVID in the gym. Not to mention Drew McIntyre making his big return since COVID, twice the size he ever was, dude. I'm so hyped right now for Goldberg and Drew after seeing this nose-to-nose face-off during the Dirt Sheet. What did you think? Go.
No.
It's a good one.
I appreciate you sticking to... No, I can't even. I think... Here's the problem. You've been sticking with the McIntyre since the slip-up. And we got a legit McIntyre. Like,
yeah, we did. Dude, that's long-term storytelling, bro.
It's amazing.
You don't realize.
Look,
this is like Marsh's bread and butter.
I fucking love David Krumholtz. I'm glad he was there. It didn't look like him, and then it looked like him. We've never seen him with his shirt off, but like, the fact, number one, fucking Gilbert, man, live that gimmick until it's over, brother. Shout out to GR Lunar. I want Goldberg to come back 100 fucking times so we can get Gilbert 99 of them.
That's a good point. That is a great point. One of the best parts
about Goldberg is you're Dwayne Gill, are you not living that gimmick the rest of your life?
That's it, dude. There's no fucking point to do anything else.
Dude, that's former cruiserweight champion Gilbert, bro. Like, that's former cruiserweight champion. Put some respect on that name. That is Gilbert. With your idol, Drew McIntyre. Yeah, dude. Look, I actually had to explain. I had to explain to @Mrs. TWTakes who that was, and I had such joy in breaking down the origin of Gilbert. Gilbert needs to exist as long as Goldberg does. The fact that Gilbert and Goldberg weren't inducted into the Hall of Fame on the same night is wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I also think that, like, Gilbert is to Goldberg like Daryl Hammond is to Bill Clinton. He's like, he needs that extra term to get an extra 4 years on Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean? Gilbert's all like, Goldberg's coming back?
Yeah.
It's the best news I've ever heard.
Because he still plays it phenomenal.
Dude, he does not back off at all.
It's the best.
Yeah. I was trying to explain it to producer. I missed kind of the beginning about who Dwayne Gill was, But I was just all
Right.
like, this is his thing. And then she's like, what? And I was like, ever since Goldberg came around, WWE started making fun of Goldberg with Gilbert, and it was this guy who was just like this little jobber dude doing this thing with the sparklers and the fire extinguisher. And she's like, that's pretty funny. And I was like, it's pretty good. It's been a good run.
They missed the mark on the fire extinguisher, and he still sold it. Like, it was amazing.
He's so good, dude.
I thought it was funny just because the silliness was kind of sprinkled in. This wasn't the entire show. So people that absolutely hated it, it's not the whole show. It's
Yes.
a segment. That's why I was like, even if I didn't find this funny, I could still take it because it's just one little piece.
Yeah, if I have to sit through Street Profits and Billy Kay, then you can sit through some Gilbert and Drew McIntyre. Here's the other deal. Graham says Devil's Advocate worthy, talking about his segment on his show, which is Good Cop, Bad Cop Podcast. Check that one out. Friend of the show.
At Good Bad
and
Wrestle.
friend to Bishop. Good Bad Wrestle.
Yeah, he brings us
they
all
do
together.
Yeah. I do like the Devil's Advocate segment. Although the last one with the Finn Balor thing really had me spinning head. I was in the DMV going like, what the I like replayed it like 3 times. Like, this is what they're saying right now. But Splinter does say this is why 3 hours of Raw is too much, but the U.S. Network won't allow it. And Lunar's happy that Gilbert got a payday. Can't be mad about that, and I agree. But here's the deal: I gotta sit through Street Profits. I don't like it. I gotta sit through Billy Kay. I don't like it. I sit through Gilbert. It makes me laugh. The thing is not every segment is for every single viewer.
Correct.
On top of that, the thing that I think was the huge misfire by a lot of fans, I'll say maybe in quotes, they were saying, like, what did this do to help Drew and Goldberg's match actually? Get your head out of your ass. Wasn't about him, exactly.
Wasn't about him.
Nothing to do with them.
Like I said at the beginning of us talking about Raw, when we got to this part, The Miz, I said this, I think it was on Chaos Theory's podcast. Shout out to Chaos Theory podcast. Fucking love that guy. The Miz, since his Intercontinental run with Dolph Ziggler, has found a way to become a made man.
Yeah.
Everything he does, he is allowed to get it done. I hate the fact that Otis doesn't have Money in the Bank and Miz hasn't cashed in and won the title yet. You can do the same exact thing with Otis until this segment.
Yes.
This segment is the first time Miz has looked like a legit possibility of having that title. And it was, how do we make Drew and Goldberg look less important than The Miz? And The Miz cut in that fucking promo, and I hate using wrestling jargon because I'm not in the business. I'm just a podcast asshole.
Yeah.
They put that camera in on tight. That camera was so tight on The Miz's face, he fucking right down the barrel and was like, you motherfuckers, when I cash this in, that's my fucking title. I was like, God damn it, Miz. Anything anybody has to say about how stupid that fucking segment was, which it was funny. And I hate Miz and Morrison being goofy because you don't take them seriously. They were tag team champions and you don't take them seriously anymore. If you want to say long-term character development, what Miz said down the barrel of the camera to look so intense as a viable contender to take that fucking title away, I'm all in. Miz, take that fucking belt away. That was the point of that segment.
100%. That segment, as I pour myself another drink, because that's what we do here. I'm drinking on the rocks. No.
You went from
100%.
brown to clear, brother. That's a tough one.
It's tough. Dude, I ran out of fucking proper 12. I had to go Svedka. But I kept the Brooklyn alive because you're on the show, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. This whole segment was about giving Miz more heat and making people go, Miz is a piece of shit, and making Miz be around things that make people go stupid, so fucking stupid.
Right.
So that way, when Miz comes out with the Money in the Bank during a match, you go, fuck, man, we need more stupid shit. Yes,
I think it's better than that.
It's better than that because it's that level of heat.
He showed, don't take Drew and Goldberg serious, take me serious. Because he didn't take them serious with that comedy act, but he showed you how serious he is. Now he needs to carry that for another 2 weeks to get to the Rumble, where people can watch along with you and me at the same time on my twitch.tv/TWTakesPodcast, where you guys are giving away 2 t-shirts and I'm giving away an at wrestling pins. Just saying.
Truth.
You haven't plugged it once.
No, we haven't. I thought we were gonna, and I got to drinking and got into it.
Yeah, no one
Whatever,
said we
man.
were
We're hanging
great
out,
at
having a good time.
Dude,
This is like your second
episode.
longest show.
Yeah, second longest show, episode 1. Whatever, man. We'll figure it out.
No, I thought it was phenomenal. At first, go ahead. No. Do the chat. It's fine.
Yeah. So it was a good spot to give Miz a ton of heat, and I loved the way you said it. Right, as soon as I said, people thought it was about them, and your immediate response wasn't about them. Like, what are you watching? Is this your first time watching wrestling? Thank you for joining the show. But Splinter Fox says, I'm still bitter about how John Morrison WWE run has been treated, and I agree with that entirely. That dude has no business being in this tag team or this scenario, but here we are. And he said, but hey, dude, get your last big payday check. And yeah, if he's having a fun time with one of his friends and he's just like fucking relaxing, I can't hate on that. Same thing with Shinsuke. Everything I've ever seen about Shinsuke, when people talk about how he's being misutilized or he's not the NJPW Shinsuke, everything I see about him, when he talks about him, he's loving his life. And you know what? I'm not going to knock a dude for getting a good payday and kicking back a little bit. Who knows he can go again. Just like Jeff Jarrett said about Goldberg, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. And you're goddamn right, Jeff Jarrett.
I think they said that last time, too, but, you know.
Yeah, they did. It was so good. Let's see. As for The Miz, why do they want him in the main event to promote Miz and Miz? Maybe. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't got a good reason for you
That's
other
reaching.
than The Miz gets heat. I mean, he's the USA guy, and he gets a lot of heat because we all hate him. If you're a real wrestling fan, you seem to hate him, and at the same time, the people.
But
who
is he
respect
not
all the wrestlers,
untouchable?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Win or lose, does it matter?
He's always believably in the main event and never believably a winner, in my mind.
Yeah, and if he wins, it's like, holy shit, he won. I got to see him lose.
Oh my god.
There's 2 pay-per-views right there.
Yeah,
That's 2 pay-per-views right there. They did it with Jinder. Why can't you do it with The Miz, who can actually talk on a mic?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. Graham does say, as you promote Chaos Theory podcast, episode 26 dropped 6 hours ago. Go ahead and check that out after you're done listening to ours. On all good podcasting platforms and some bad ones too. I think that's true for us as well. We're still having a hell of a time getting on Google Play. Apparently there's some script I have to write up myself to get it to launch, and so I'm not really... I mean, come on. I'm too drunk by the end to write a script, but I'll get to it. Splinter Fox does say, speaking of proper 12, McGregor this weekend, let's go. I do hear that's right. He's got a match coming up. He's got a fight. I want to see it.
McGregor Poirier too.
If someone can stream it, I'll watch it on your live watch along. You let me know. Graham does say second longest show on episode 1 is pretty good, which is true. Justin Time says this is like the 50th episode 1. Also true. We're really close to 50 on podcast, but we have been doing this for almost 2 years, so we're really close to 100 and something.
Listen,
but
I love Justin, but when fans point out the gaps in kayfabe, you're an asshole.
Dick. I just think of that stupid meme with the seal where he's just like, yay. Hey,
You cannot point out the gap in kayfabe. You go along for the ride, damn it.
Yeah, you're along for the ride. Also, secondly, once we get it figured out, when we have a show that's not filled with fuck-ups, that's episode 2. All right? You tell me, has this been a flawless episode?
Yes, it has.
Those episodes, yeah.
When I had to carry 3 minutes for some unexplained reason, flawless episode.
Yeah,
I
right?
tuned in.
Let's see. Lunar says, what the hell? I don't want to hear any gender slander tonight. That's my pick to win the Rumble. Oh, he's throwing it out there. Dude, I'm all on board for that. The idea of Jinder winning the Royal Rumble and going towards Drew McIntyre saying, hey, look, you motherfucker. You always overlooked me. You always thought you were better than me. When you, me, and Heath were dancing side by side, you always thought you were the fucking chosen one. We were lesser thans. And you even proved it by calling Heath Slater to come back just so you could kick him in the fucking face. And I'm not having that. I'm not feeling that. You know what? For Heath's sake, for my sake, I'm taking that title right off your fucking waist.
You're going babyface gender.
Hell yeah, babyface gender. Bitch. I look. Bitch.
I tell you, towards the end of the gender run, when he had the Colossus, I think was the name of his finisher.
Yes.
He started putting it all together. I never liked the in-ring stuff with gender. I never liked really the stories or anything like that. There was the pay-per-view that they did with the where the Great Khali came out and they had the bamboo cage match and all that. That was in Philadelphia. Yeah, Punjabi prison. That was in Philadelphia. I could have gone to that pay-per-view. I was like, I'm not watching Jinder and Randy in the main event. I'm not doing it because I wasn't buying into Jinder's in-ring work. If I was, I'd have went. Yeah, I'd have paid the money to go to it. Why not? I'll sit up in it. There's no bad seat in a basketball stadium. It doesn't matter if it's a basketball stadium, anywhere across the country, hockey stadium, doesn't matter. No bad seat when you go to a wrestling show. So I'd have paid any price to go into that. And I didn't go.
Yeah.
I love the story. And isn't that what you said a couple episodes ago? I can see great wrestling anywhere. Give me something to buy into.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was
It might have been.
episode.
It might have been. But no, give me a good story. I can see great wrestling anywhere. Yes. Jinder, McIntyre, great story. Absolutely great story. Yes. This Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar with no help, great story.
Yes.
I don't care who wins the Rumble as long as it's a great story. Randy Orton doesn't need to win the Rumble because he has the story built in. What's the great stories that we can have with these champions? Well, I guess we'll find out in the beginning of the night because I would imagine the men's Rumble is going to close the show if we're going to get something spectacular at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think so, but I mean, here's the thing: I think yes, Jinder can get to there without having the Rumble win, but I think
sure, it's built in.
Other SmackDown people, and here's the deal: is you got to figure out who can. Now, I do think that having Daniel Bryan lose a few matches in a row makes him more of an underdog going into the Rumble, and so him winning the Rumble to be able to take on like a Roman Reigns in the main event could be big time and good, and would also make sense on why would he lose so much going into the Rumble. It's because you don't want to believe he could win.
But let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Okay, so maybe we have the same but here. We are both sitting down, so it's possible. Isn't Roman Reigns the underdog in the Roman Daniel Bryan story?
No, he's not.
Everyone is against Roman. Everyone is against Roman in the Roman Daniel Bryan story. So why would Daniel Bryan win? But who cheers
for the Patriots? Only assholes. That doesn't mean that the Patriots are underdogs every time. My apologies to Kofi Kingston.
No, I don't agree with the analogy. I don't agree because Roman didn't just win every match. He told great stories and he was the winner at the end of the story, but he wasn't always the champion forever. I think of the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns angle, that Daniel Bryan is still victorious in that angle. I don't think Daniel Bryan going after Roman Reigns does anything for either one of them. So I don't know why Daniel Bryan winning the Rumble would help anybody.
Well, the idea being that Daniel Bryan is the underdog to Roman Reigns because of the story they've been telling forever, right? Why did they boo Roman Reigns when he won the 2015 Royal Rumble? Because he wasn't Daniel Bryan. Why did the Yes Movement even kick off? It's because Roman Reigns was being pushed and it wasn't Daniel Bryan, and the fans wanted Daniel Bryan. So here you have Roman Reigns on top.
Quick fact check. Daniel Bryan's biggest WrestleMania moment, that Royal Rumble, they were cheering the shit out of Roman Reigns when Batista won. They wanted Roman to win that match. Yet Bryan got the WrestleMania moment. The fans wanted Roman at that point. No, yes, the year before, when Bryan got his moment, the following year they wanted Bryan to get another moment. That's just fans being assholes.
That's true.
Which is why I have a podcast.
Yeah. It's true.
All right, back to whatever. What are we talking about again? Raw? The dirt sheet? I think we ended on the dirt sheet and we got into fucking Daniel Bryan
gender.
versus...
Let's run through the chat real quick. Where's it? Let's see. Because Lunar derailed the whole show is what it was. And bottom line, if you want to derail the show, that is an option. Anybody who wants to join, twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks, where you can join the chat live and derail the whole fucking show. And you can hear me cut a Jinder Mahal promo for WrestleMania. Splinter Fox says, I believe Miz. Yeah, let's go. You know when I became a Jinder Mahal fan? Royal Rumble 2019. Do you remember him in that match?
No.
No, he wasn't there. Here's the deal. I met him at a meet and greet, and he was so fucking chill. And I walked over, I was like, can we do the Shanti thing? He goes, oh, dude, whatever you want, man. Let's do it. And he signs my hat. He does the Shanti thing, pose with me, and we have a good time. We have a laugh about something else. And then we're doing the backstage tour of Raw. And as the tour is coming through, he walks out of Gorilla, sees the group, and goes, oh, fantastic. You've made it for group yoga. Everybody say it with me. Shanti. And he starts doing it, and I was like, Jinder is amazing.
Yes.
That man works a small crowd. I don't know about the large ones. Let's see. Splinter Fox says, I believe Miz is a top heel for the casual fan, but for me, I don't feel anything for him. I know he's a nice guy in real life, so I broke kayfabe. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, to be honest.
I don't think he's a nice guy in real life.
I think he believes he is. Splinter Fox says, so
which makes him a heel.
Episode 2? Yes. He says there'll never be an episode 2 because I said it has to be a smooth show, and he is correct. We started at the bottom, and yet here we remain. Graham does say that Justin was explaining to the rookies about the episode 1 deal. Splinter Fox says Jinder wins the Rumble, then gets injured right away. That's true. He will snap his leg.
That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up.
Lunar says the sexy keeps getting hurt. I was at that pay-per-view. It was fun, though. I'm not sure which one. Oh, Punjabi Prison. Lunar says, I honestly popped when Great Khalid came out. These guys are loving the fucking match. Did you see Jinder the promotion poster for the Superstar Spectacles? It would happen if he wins the Rumble. That would be cool. I didn't see him on there.
Yeah, there was something with India where he was on a poster or something, yeah.
All right. I mean, but they could do that just to sell shit, right? Cena still shows up on posters for events he's not on.
Plus, he's from Canada, so, you know.
That's true. Canadian hero. Let's see. Splinter Fox, I'm calling Big E to lose the IC title at the Rumble and then wins the Rumble to face Roman. And I'm okay with that if that happens.
No.
He kept the pat out of your mouth, bud. Or keep the pat out of your mouth, bud. You must be a Cowboys fan. Oh, because I said Patriots talk. I was talking shit about Patriots because they're fucking awful. Every time I got a lot of friends who are Patriots fans. And I'm like, you guys are the villains in all the movies. Did you not watch Bad News Browns? It wasn't about you guys. Anyways.
All right.
The final segment, Alexa Bliss versus Asuka in a match for no reason. They did have a playground segment beforehand where Alexa was apparently hanging out with little Jimmy, R-Truth's friend. And Asuka showed a lot of fear towards Alexa, which I liked because I know that people think this is making Asuka look weak. I don't believe that's the case. I do believe that we have an Asuka who has 4 months been unattended, unopposed, and overall pretty silly and carefree. And now you have someone for who, whatever reason, Alexa seems to have. She's got it out for Asuka in a mean way. And now you have Asuka versus Alexa mid-match, and I'm going to throw it to you. Alexa twists and turns, the lights go out, comes back. She's in new makeup, a new shirt, and she is virtually untouchable as a karate hero as she blocks and defends so many moves, does Matrix-like defenses, and ultimately gets the win over Asuka in what I thought was a pretty good showing on Alexa's part. She looked a lot more natural in the ring than I've seen her in a long time. And at the end of the day, here was Alexa proving to be an honest, credible threat against an Asuka who has also proven to be ill-concerned about any credible threat. Go ahead, Bishop. Do it.
So real quick, you were in the Thunderdome, right?
Yes.
Did it look any different to you than it did to us?
No.
Okay, because there was cuts and all that stuff that made it seem like they made it fill some stuff and all that.
So far as I can tell.
I have been... Okay. I have been almost moved to artistic tears on this Alexa Fiend storyline. They have given us something that is so out of the box with someone who is like as on the fence as a performer as Carmella is, but who has been ultra successful here her entire main roster run. I mean, I think me and you talked about this the other day again when we were doing the watch along to test out for the Rumble. Shout out to twitch.tv/TWTakesPodcast for the watch along. You guys giving away 2 t-shirts. I'm giving away an at Wrestling's rattlesnake pin. That Alexa pre-main roster debut was a valet. As of today, she is as legit or more legit than anybody on the entire fucking roster. This particular match, and I know people were up in arms about Asuka not being taken seriously and she's your champion, and we all have this reverence for who Asuka is, and I do too. But when it comes to this fucking story, I said it a couple weeks ago on my podcast, available on all platforms, TW Takes Podcast, Terrible Wrestling Takes, search both, you'll find it, that Alexa's either going to have to show up with a women's version of the Fiend style mask or some type of non-beautifying makeup, right? We have Playhouse Bliss now, right? We have Funhouse Bray. We have Playhouse Bliss, where she is cutesy ponytails. Not only did she come back with new shirt, new makeup, the ponytails turned into a bun. And
that was
all
my
that
only
Matrix
real complaint
shit.
was I wished it was a little more gruesome than it was just different kind of cutesy. Keep going.
Sure, and you can do it 2 ways, though, right? You can put the mask on, or you can change the presentation. And, hey, a lot of people are into black makeup. So the black lipstick probably wasn't enough. The darkening of the eyes probably wasn't enough. Excuse me. So I do agree, too, that if you're looking at the possession of the Fiend spirit, that this wasn't enough of the possession. I do want to see more, but she is possessed in that moment. And what I really fucking loved, she had her own version of the incremental darkening of the screens. It wasn't the same cadence or sound as the Fiend gets. And she got the purple light instead of a red light. This is Alexa going from Bliss to Fiend. It's happening right now. And I would imagine at the Rumble, we are going to get full Alexa Fiend in whatever capacity that is. And I am all fucking in. I absolutely love Asuka and everything she's done. She posts Instagram photos, looks fucking beautiful. She's in the ring. She does dance and stuff. And I'm like, God damn it, you're funny and silly too. She wrestles her ass off. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's a great match. But this match on fucking Monday night was all about the presentation of Bliss Fiend. I'm ready for it. Give me 100% Bliss Fiend.
Yeah, 100%. And take it now, because here's the deal. Alexa is too good for this world. She does not belong in the wrestling world. She will be in Hollywood soon enough, and she will be gone from us. And we'll always look fondly at her as one of the good ones that came from us. But she will not stay with us forever, I don't believe. Splinter Fox does say he can't get behind Alexa after seeing her social media because of kayfabe, like The Miz. Justin says, I thought it was
pick and
awesome
choose.
that we find... Yeah. Here's the deal, is I do get it, though, because I do believe there's a new kayfabe. If you listen to Sam Roberts on his podcast, he's talked about new kayfabe recently. It's a conversation I've had with him personally, actually friend of the show, sort of, Sam Roberts. Check out his podcast if you don't get a chance. The idea of new kayfabe being that they're utilizing the reality of what we know to be reality versus wrestling to be where they find the pockets to fool you. So I do give you that there is too much bubbly in Alexa's normal day-to-day social media output. That does make it a little bit different for me. So I'm not going to say you're wrong on that one because I feel it. I think that I'm able to, for whatever reason, because I love the Bray Wyatt and Alexa stories so much, just say, fuck it, I'm going to forget I saw that. Like,
Well,
and move on. And that's me
No,
being forgiving.
there's levels, right? Like Mia Yim having 2 accounts, one for Reckoning, one for Mia Yim, is different than Alexa tweeting a Christmas picture with her fiance, right? Like, I
Yes.
get that. But if she's like, okay, so Sonya Deville, right? She's in full on daddy's home mode, right? And I'm here for all of it. But she also tweeted out the fuck up of a video she was trying to do where she ended up breaking that character. That's a lot different than, like, she was trying to, did you see that video?
No.
So she said, when you're trying to set a thirst trap at work and you get interrupted by Billy Kay and Ruby Riott, right? So she's doing this TikTok video.
I probably didn't
Billy
watch
Kay
it 'cause
bumps
Billy
in.
Kay was mentioned.
You should have. It was funny.
I will.
But it's Sonya being super serious and then breaking and being bubbly. Alexa, when she's in the WWE locker room, which she doesn't put pictures out, you know what I'm saying, is different than at home. And we have to respect that because asking them to do what Taker did for 30 fucking years is just stupid. If she wants to take a picture with her husband or her fiance, whatever, go ahead. You know what I mean?
And we're
but
big fans
as
of
long
Ryan
as you
Cabrera
are
on this show, for the record.
So we have to call him Ryan Cabrera?
I'm a big fan of his, yes.
Okay, I'm a fan of his early work.
Go ahead.
It's an Ashley Simpson show reference, but, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. L-O-V-E.
VE. Very underrated. Very
And
underrated.
I have no idea what either of
anyway,
you.
no, seriously though, like you can't expect her to hold this kind of character external to WWE. If she's tweeting pictures from the locker room, I got a problem. If she's at home, I'm good. If she's doing a promo thing where saying, "Hey, log into the Thunderdome," okay. If you want her to get into full on character, like that's a personal thing. But Alexa on TV, I'm all the fuck in.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Let's hit a good questions coming in through here by Justin211. You can follow him at Justin211 on Twitter. He is a friend of the show of both mine and TWTakesPodcast, Terrible Takes Wrestling Podcast. I thought it was awesome
Terrible
that we finally saw
Wrestling
Alexa
Takes.
Fiend. I don't know what I said otherwise, but it's fine. I thought it was awesome that we finally saw Alexa Fiend, but they could have done this against anyone else but Asuka. Asuka is already the afterthought in the team with Charlotte and everything, and every time she loses, it affects Asuka as well. It left me with mixed feelings. And this is my point about it needs to be Asuka. Asuka has been unopposed and not serious. Asuka's been goofing off. Asuka's sitting ringside and calling a contender the sexy muscle friends and saying, I love them, I like them, they're my friends, they're good people.
Right.
Asuka has not behaved like a champion under threat. And I think what made this win over Asuka super important, and what made it more important to be over Asuka, it was Alexa stepping up and saying, fuck everyone, I'm here now. You might be talking about the sexy muscle friends on commentary, but while you're doing that, I've acquired certain powers that you may not be aware of. That's why I think it made it so important. Producer has something she wanted to say real quick.
Yeah, and honestly, this was the one match that I was so looking forward to for Raw. When I heard she was going against Asuka, I said, "Oh, okay, forget anything else happening on this. This is what I'm interested in." Because I also didn't know what was going to happen with Asuka. Was she going to bring back the green mist? Was she going to be somehow otherwise affected by Alexa? We don't know. So I thought it brought up more possibilities for Asuka, honestly.
Yes, and it also made Asuka look weak, and that's fine and good. And Asuka should look weak because she's an unopposed champion. She did not use the mist. She didn't even try to use the mist. At Great American Bash, she used the mist against Sasha Banks because she was that fucking terrified and desperate. She never got to that point with Alexa, and Alexa capitalized on all of that. And spoke so much fear into Asuka that maybe she didn't even think about mist. Maybe we'll get
in the playground.
Mist. In the playground.
Yeah, they did a great job setting up the playground to, because at first it kind of piggybacked off of last week, if I'm not mistaken, where, you know, what are we getting out of this segment? And so when Asuka came out, she went to sit in the swing and was like, oh, no, I'll stand over here. And look, there's a language barrier thing with Asuka. So her communicating to us, we have to understand that she's thinking before she's speaking, and it's not going to be natural, right? So you got to give her a little bit of a pass. And as she set up what was happening, I'm going, okay, where's this going? Once she dropped the Fiend's name and there was a twist in Alexa, and then Asuka's reaction off of that showed Asuka's not sure what to expect in the match later. And what we got in the match was, how serious do I take Alexa? Okay, well, it's the same Alexa that I saw on the playground. As long as I don't mention the Fiend, everything should be okay. They have the match. All of a sudden, the lights kick. And then even it took a little bit more, and then Asuka turned it up again. And we got a little bit of that Asuka that we're used to. And then the Fiend energy takes over Alexa. We get the super possession, and she wins the match. And it's like, okay, I am all in for how powerful Alexa can be. If it's going to give us the strongest Asuka we can get, we're now looking at two extremely dominant women that we didn't have even just 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have like an honest Raw Women's Championship match that sounded like anything worthwhile 2 weeks ago. And right now we're like, oh shit, is Alexa going to take the title off Asuka? And is Asuka too weak to defend it? That's not a bad story to tell.
Right. And not physically, mentally. How distracted is she going to be? And how much more distracted can she get going into Royal Rumble?
Yeah, 100%. Let's see in the chat real quick, because we do like to do the chat. And if you guys want to come in and derail the show like everyone has so far, twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks. Let's see. Justin says, I thought it was awesome. We finally saw Alexa Fiend, but they could have done this against... Oh, wait, no, we already said that one. Graham says, I got to agree with Bishop. Bring on Alexa Fiend. My only fear is that what we saw was as far as Alexa will go with Fiend stuff.
I would hate it. If that's the case, I would hate it.
I want it darker. I want it darker than a black t-shirt.
Yeah. And the makeup.
Says, yeah, and makeup. Smeared lipstick is not all that frightening to me. Maybe
no, it's kind of sexy.
In the wrong part of town. Yeah, it could just be how I grew up. Splinter Fox says, yeah, Alexa will be gone soon. Too many injuries. Hello, Hollywood. And yeah, she's a treasure to us now because we see it, but we're not the only ones seeing it. And she's on the Punky Brewster reboot. God.
What? Reboot.
What? Reboot. The Punky Brewster reboot has Alexa Bliss, so that to me is the first tell-all that Alexa's on the way out.
Well, I believe Charlotte's in that too.
Ooh, that'd be nice if she left.
That's what I heard. I heard Charlotte's in it too.
Good.
Seriously.
She was in Psyched. If she's in Punky Brewster, she can go to Hollywood. Hollywood, have her.
Thanks for the follow. And
Take my wife, please.
thanks for the follow, Graham.
Graham, thanks for the follow. We appreciate it. Although we know you hate what we're talking about. We love you still. Splinter Fox says, yeah, the scary shit is over. There's only one taker. I hear that. Splinter Fox says, unless if Asuka comes back as a badass and beat the living shit out of her, I'm all for it. Kana awake. And I hear that too. Kana would be cool to see come back. But do we see Kana actually overtake Alexa maybe once and Alexa come back and really show like a power struggle? That could be cool, Godzilla Mothra style. He says, but something tells me that won't happen and she will lose the title at Rumble. But what happens when Becky comes back, wins the Rumble, is Becky versus this Bliss?
Becky's not coming back for the Rumble. Relax.
I'm in a state where I can't fantasy book Becky.
Right.
I'm so invested in her as a human being.
Yep. I agree with what you said on episode 1.
Yeah. Episode 1, I touched ground on it. I'm so invested in her as a person, as a human, that I can't fantasy book her. It's really tough for me. If she comes back at Rumble, I get it. Exciting, cool, boom, yeah, woo. I'll cheer. If she doesn't, I'm still going to cheer for her because the thing is day after day, I'm going to cheer for Becky Lynch, her family, and whatever makes her happy. I'm just too invested in her as a human. Graham is heading out. He says he's got to tap out. Have a great evening, you all. Graham, thank you for coming through and having a drink with us. I appreciate it. I've had a few drinks with you, and you didn't even know it. That's what makes the show special. Thank you so much, Graham. Let's see. So yeah, so like that. I can't fantasy book Becky. I just can't. Justin says, I get Asuka is supposed to look scared, but it really shows the decline of Asuka. She used to be intimidated by nobody, and now she's just being normalized. Husband Fox.
I think we're just used to that from NXT. We never got that on the main roster. Yeah.
100%. I don't think she's being normalized. I think she's being intimidated. And I think there's nothing wrong with a champion looking intimidated.
Yeah.
Stone Cold didn't always know if he was going to beat The Rock. But he always went into that match thinking, I'm going to be damned if I don't lose on my...
If you look back at his runs, he had way more memorable moments without the title.
Yes.
And that's just the character, you know? So...
Stone Cold! Stone Cold!
I do agree, though.
Stone Cold!
Do agree. Asuka, if she was presented on Raw or SmackDown the way she was on NXT, we would get the best version of women's wrestling, period. We were just never afforded that opportunity. And that's unfortunate because imagine that Asuka against a Charlotte who loses. You are building incredible talent then because you have someone who can out-wrestle the fucking world. If anyone should be going toe-to-toe, imagine it. Asuka AJ Styles match.
Fuck that.
It would work. It would work.
It would.
That's so all this fucking Charlotte versus Randy Orton stuff that doesn't even make sense because Randy Orton's 6 inches taller than her. You could have some shit that actually would look like it makes sense. So I'm not saying that I want it to happen, but if you have Asuka against these women building that division up with her experience and everything, let's fucking go. But we haven't gotten that. And honestly, I don't think we are going to get it.
Yeah.
And since we're not going to, we got to take what's in front of us. And what's in front of us, hopefully, is a little bit more tweaking to this Alexa Fiend.
Yeah. I think this Alexa Fiend can be quite a beast. And I think that it's okay to be intimidated as a top person. Like you said, Asuka means more if she beats Charlotte at WrestleMania 3 years ago.
Yeah.
She lost to Asuka after a huge undefeated streak. The biggest delusion that Charlotte as a character has, I don't know anything about the human and what she believes or any of that. And again, nothing bad to say about the person who is Ashley, who portrays Charlotte. The character Charlotte said several times, Asuka had nothing to prove going into that WrestleMania. Is the biggest load of horse shit that you can possibly say moving into that. Asuka had everything to prove, given she was undefeated for 500 and something days in a developmental brand. And whether or not she won or lost was going to validate that string of undefeatedness by either being a big fish in a small pond or being a best of the best worldwide. And by losing to Charlotte, she solidified that she was simply a big fish in a small pond.
It also solidified that NXT is developmental.
Yes.
If she wins that, it goes, any streak on NXT holds as much weight on the main roster. If the Undisputed Era goes, I'm giving up my tag titles instead of losing them, and they step on to Raw, and they face the New Day, and they lose in 38 seconds, or let's say, all right, let's go for real, like the Asuka Charlotte thing. Let's say they beat every nominal tag team you can find, and then they face the New Day at WrestleMania, and the New Day work the arm the whole time, and they tap out to an ankle lock. You're now saying, oh, well, Undisputed Era didn't mean shit because it all happened on NXT. That's what you're telling us, that Asuka didn't mean shit because it all happened on NXT. That's why Rhea Ripley losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania did the same exact thing as it did for Asuka. Rhea Ripley is so fucking good, though. You keep her away from Asuka, and she makes Raquel Gonzalez look like a bona fide fucking star.
Yes.
You know, but what has Asuka done? What has she put in that position to do? Unfortunately, nothing since that match. Sucks. Because that Rumble win was fucking incredible.
So fucking good. And it's not to discredit Asuka at all. She's absolutely fucking incredible. And the little bit that I know, because we are not insiders with this background knowledge and these fucking people leaking information, from what I hear, from the things that I do know, Asuka is one of the most respected women in the back as far as that goes.
Sure.
Take it as you will, leave it as you will, whatever. Asuka is beloved by the other wrestlers back there as being one of the greatest in the absolute world. I don't think it's completely lost on us, but I think that loss to Charlotte was a huge ding to us because it was like, oh, you were just a big fish in a small pond. Charlotte showed us all that you needed to lose to be humbled. Where Kevlar had said in one of our episode ones, you have to go back a few episode ones, I think, to find it. If Asuka lost immediately going up to the main roster, it would actually send a statement saying, yes, do as well as you can on NXT, but we are a different level.
Yeah.
Which, in a sense, could be very cool to make, that statement.
Even if it's a loss on some bullshit, would actually make more sense. It's like, hey, you need to pay a little bit more attention here than you did down there. And then you rebuild it through proper wrestling. And if anyone could, it's her, for sure. Because they honestly, they made Bayley pretty much untouchable when she came up to the main roster. She had a title real quick, you know? And honestly,
absolutely.
like Asuka has a title run. I believe it's SmackDown where she has it for a shit ton of days. And it's not memorable. Like, even now, I think she's like 60 days undefended. And I'm like, why not? Yeah. We fucking love Asuka. She's great. Yes. Defend the title and beat anyone. You know, remember Bret Hart would just face someone out of nowhere as a main event of Raw? And it's like, fucking A. Bret Hart's going to face someone as a main event of Raw as a champion. Like
1, 2, 3 Kid.
Yeah.
I fucking love Sean Waltman.
The Patriot.
I love X-Pac. But he had no business being into that fucking match with Bret Hart from a character standpoint, storyline standpoint. But that match was everything to that character.
1,000%.
Because not only was Bret in that match with him, Bret made him look like a contender.
Sure.
So, yeah,
and Asuka should have been doing the same thing, but they tend not to give the B side of women's matches that propeller. Like we were talking about Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose earlier. Like if they get some credible wins over Shayna Baszler and they head down to the Dusty Cup in NXT, you think they're going to win. But as of right now, they're not setting up anyone to feel that important. So why would you take credence in what they do? The B side of these women's matches who maybe are going to lose, but how about maybe they pull out a win and you get some steam? They don't give it to us. And it bothers me. Yeah. There's talent there that's being wasted.
I'll give you a quick hot take, and then we'll hit the chat. I think that Asuka beating Charlotte was more detrimental to NXT than Charlotte being beneficial to NXT by becoming NXT champion. I feel like her defeating Asuka told the entire WrestleMania viewership, which is not your everyday Raw viewership. NXT ain't shit.
Yep.
It ain't shit.
I don't disagree.
And she wins the NXT title, and everyone who's watching goes, why? I thought you said it wasn't shit. That's why I think we saw the ratings that we saw. Hot take. But, let's see.
It is not a terrible wrestling take.
Ooh, Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast. Anywhere you get your podcasts. Let's see. Splinter Fox says, it just happens. Let's see. Yep, it's just what happened to Shayna and Asuka. The toughness is almost gone. Yeah. Kana took on Suzuki. That match was crazy. I should look that one up. I'm going to screenshot it, actually. Yeah. I don't always screenshot everything Splinter Fox says because me and him hate each other. I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm going to look up that match.
Well, come to the Royal Rumble watch-along on my channel.
Oh, yeah. We got the Royal Rumble watch-along coming up. TW Takes Podcast on twitch.tv/TWTakesPodcast to watch a watch-along with both me and Bishop watching the Royal Rumble live and the possibility of a Kevlar on the Rocks show-in.
With an X.
Lunar says,
and you can win 2 T-shirts possibly and an At Wrestlin's rattlesnake pin.
That's a good point. If it's your night, dude, if you're like champion of all champions, you win 2 T-shirts and a pin. That's not bad. Gio Lunar says, I hope y'all are appreciating the amount Marsh is drinking tonight. I am. It's between the proper and the Svedka, it's at least a half a bottle of the two.
Hey, I kicked a bottle of wine. but you couldn't tell because I'm the excellence of education. I mean execution.
Of education.
Neither of you can speak.
Exactly.
Spinner Fox
Hitman,
says
damn it.
that pisses me off that Rhea has not been the same after that Flair match. Boom. Gotcha. 100%. Rhea has lost so many matches since there. Yes. Spinner Fox says Brett versus the 1-2-3 Kid. He's excited. I believe booking has changed. Justin says not a terrible wrestling take. So we just got fans of the show. Hey. Guys, that's the idea. I love this version of Alexa. I love this version of Asuka. The idea of them clashing and feeling like Asuka might not be up for the challenge is exciting. And I understand the idea of Asuka looking weak is terrifying for us fans who think of her as the 600-day undefeated Asuka. But if you've never lost ever, at a certain point when you lose one, it's kind of a different feeling, right? I mean, I'm a huge fan of Muhammad Ali. And that guy won, 52 matches overall, and those last couple were really a little rough.
Yeah.
There's a different feeling when you're watching a guy who might not win it versus watching like a Tyson against, what's that white guy, Peter O'Connell or something? Where you just
Hurricane Peter McNeely. I'm going to wrap him in a cocoon of horror.
Love
I'm
that
going
you know
to
him.
cocoon of horror. 59 seconds later. Good night. Or 89 seconds, maybe. He was the first 89-second match.
100%. 89-second match, episode 1. Peter McNeely. Dude, I remember getting that pay-per-view and
He
being
definitely
like,
got caught with it. He definitely got caught with episode 1 for sure.
Yeah, he did. He got a hot episode 1, and that's how it goes. Splinter Fox does say question. Oh, and this is Splinter Fox's gimmick right here, dude. You're about to learn
end of
right
the show,
now.
Ask a dumbass
End
question
of the
that
show.
takes forever. Mm-hmm.
He's going to ask the coolest fucking question of the night, and we're going to have to open next show with it. Let's see what he says. He says, question, : will Rhea enter the Royal Rumble and then move to the so-called main roster? Will they know how to use Rhea, or will she get the Asuka and Shayna treatment? Here's the deal. The first thing I'm going to throw out is the idea of, do they know how to use main roster talent or not? That's garbage. No. First off, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Keith. I mean, how many more can we go through?
I mean, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. It's been 3 years since he's been back. Yeah.
Yeah. All came through NXT. They know how to use talent. All right. So this idea that they don't know how to use NXT talent is berserk.
I'll disagree with you though. It's the women's division that they don't give the time on TV. It's all about time on TV. Doesn't matter who it is.
Good point.
The
Bayley,
women's division,
Sasha,
it's
Becky,
time on TV.
Charlotte.
Yes,
never get time on TV.
Look, if
Asuka,
Bayley, Sasha,
Alexa
didn't get a chance to breathe the entire summer, we don't have the awesome Hell in a Cell match. You know what I mean? They can put a match together tomorrow with no storyline, but we're not invested like we were at Hell in a Cell. So that it's time on TV. If Rhea goes in the Rumble and shows up on Raw or SmackDown or challenges whoever, doesn't matter if she doesn't get the time on TV. Same thing with Asuka. She's on TV. She's dancing around. She gets a fucking 14-second match. She has an awesome match with a decent story finally against Alexa, and it's like all about Alexa. So where's the Asuka love? You know, Asuka was a champion for almost 400 days, yet where were those awesome matches? We didn't get them on TV. So you can't name one Asuka match with the title where you're like, great fucking match. So it's time on TV. Without the time on TV, the women's division does not help being on Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah. 100%. You need that time. I'm just saying this narrative that no one from NXT comes up to the main roster and sees success is bullshit.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just,
and there's only so much time.
Take. Yeah, there's only so much time, and it's just garbage take. However, will Rhea enter the Rumble and move on to the main roster, and how will she do? I think Rhea very likely will. She was definitely in the 2019. Yeah. I believe she was in the 2020. I think the idea of her not being in the 2021 would be weird at this point.
Yeah.
I think Rhea is also undeniable. I already put Rhea in the Alexa Bliss category of I hope Hollywood isn't watching.
Yeah.
Because if they get a nice glimpse of Rhea Ripley and they see what we see, then we have the next 3 Terminator movies of Rhea Ripley, and we have no more wrestling with her.
Okay, so here is the name of my show in one segment. Here is if anybody in the chat or watching right now or listening later on has never listened to my show, at TW Takes Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, every single podcast platform. It's either TW Takes Podcast or Terrible Wrestling Takes. Here's a Terrible Wrestling Take for anyone who gives a fuck to comment otherwise. Rhea Ripley is, pound for pound, age for age, gender for gender, the best wrestler on the planet. She can do no wrong at age 24, boy or girl, mic in ring, raising talent, winning championships, making other people look better, having a full-on match, creating a story. No one is better than her across any age, shrunk down to hers. Her level extrapolated up to 40. No one is better than Rhea Ripley at the entire form of wrestling, regardless of who it is. And that includes AJ Styles. It includes MJF, who is a year older than her. No one in the world is better than Rhea Ripley. And that translating into Hollywood or any other form, by God, do not fucking touch her. Make her the centerpiece of WWE. Light every fire under her ass. Strap every rocket to her back and send her to the fucking moon.
A ding dong. Hello? Have you forgotten the greatest role model of all time? I'm just fucking with you.
I was wondering what you were gearing up for. You were like, I'm listening. I kind of agree, but I want a counterpoint. So
yeah, I was like, I got to get ready. I got to position myself in the chair just right. I got to do the thing. I got to do the door.
Well, like, look, ready. 2 years ago, she is the finalist or semi-finalist for the Mae Young Classic. And why isn't she winning? Wins the UK Women's title. Last year, gets the NXT title, has a phenomenal program with Charlotte. You fucking look at her as a babyface. Right now, she is uplifting the entire roster in NXT. She's fucking 24 years old. People are going, hey, go to the main roster. If she stays in NXT for another 6 months, how important is that women's division? And they're already the best on the planet. And she's not even a fucking champion down there.
Yeah, it's hard to argue.
She's that special, man.
For sure. I do think that's a terrible take. And I think if you want to get more terrible wrestling takes and anti-Bailey takes, then you got to tune in to Terrible Wrestling Takes Podcast, TW Takes Podcast, everywhere you get your podcast. Bishop, I can't thank you enough for coming through and making sure that this show happened. Because without
you thank at Mrs. TW Takes. You thank her. She allowed me to do this.
That's a good point. That is a huge good point, and I will say that right now at Mrs. TW Takes Podcast, the greatest thing to come out of TW Takes Podcast in general. Thank you to Mrs. Takes. Without you guys, this show wouldn't have happened today. I think we ran super long, brother. And it was the most fun we've had in a really long time. It's awesome to get a couple of wrestling fans to drink and just talk shit for a long time. Guys, I don't think I have anything else to say other than check out TW Takes. Check out our watch along for Royal Rumble. Check out our giveaway for the shirts. Hit us up any way you can. At this point, we wanted you to message Kevlar on the Rocks with the next specifically, but at this point, reach out to any of us at all.
Look, I've been saying this on the podcast. If you are not in the Twitch chat having some fucking fun with us, you will not be in the entry for this beautiful, cleverly named rattlesnake pin from at Wrestling Pins. You can't because it's a virtual background that's disappearing. Put it in front of my face. See that?
It comes and goes.
Look at that fucking thing. Zoom in if you have to.
You can get a couple of shirts, but you can have a good time either way. Come check out, hang out, watch Rumble with us, hang out with your drinking buddies, your wrestling buddies. That's us. That's Bishop. Guys, I think that's last call. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me, sir. It's been a fucking blast. Until next time.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.